air conditioning or power certain technology like ACs in Philly schools. You get all sorts of excuses. No one's willing to think outside the box. The other thing too is that we have yet to get the superintendent on this particular program. They don't want to come on this program. So
this was the heating, vent, and air conditioning unit.
Right.
So that takes at least 240 volts.
Right.
To run it. You see what I'm saying?
Right. It's possible.
A local air conditioner, it only takes 120 volts, 200 at the most.
One thing I noticed when I was in Trinidad, as far as going into people's houses, people have space air conditionings, air conditioners. In fact, that was the norm, and it was keeping the spaces cool. It was the same sort of spatial air conditioning units that I've advocated for on this program before in Philadelphia public school classrooms. I'm not talking about whole HVAC systems that cover the whole building. Just like you once you look at, we kind of guesstimated that's probably somewhere in the avenue of a $3 to $5 million investment for out of what is the Philadelphia public school budget? I think it's a little bit over a $3 billion public school budget. I don't understand why that investment hasn't been made yet, and we're going to run into the same exact issue that we had at the beginning of the school year last year.
Yep. Just follow the money, young fella, and you'll find the answers.
Philadelphia public school system should be embarrassed. We just had the sister who got elected on Tuesday, right? Sister in Movita Johnson Harrell, right? And even she said it. She was blunt. I appreciated the bluntness as far as her sentiment towards Philadelphia public schools. She has grandsons that she's trying to raise. She doesn't want them in Philadelphia public schools. She's a supporter of Philadelphia public schools. She, like myself and others, would love for Philadelphia public schools to succeed, but they're just not in success mode right now. I mean, you can spin it and marinate it and put pepper sauce on it all you want. Philadelphia public schools are in a sorry state, and it's been like that for a long time. And let's just be real, talk about it, and let's really come up with creative ideas on how to fix it. And we can't, everyone's trying to apply this conventional playbook to fixing the Philadelphia public school system. You can't. You got it. People are really going to have to think outside the box and a lot more creatively, and coming up with cutting edge, forward thinking ideas. Other than what right now at this point, this particular superintendent is all about just like packaging and marketing it right, and that's all the superintendent and the mayor and the city council and the school board are all concerned about. Let's see how we can package it to make everything look like it's going well. It's not. It's not, because if you have someone who's just been elected to the State House on public or on live radio saying that I don't want my kids going to the Philadelphia public school system, you've got an issue. You've got a real problem there.
Okay, young fella, take it and run, because I can't handle it.
Yes, you can. That's why you mentioned it. That's why Mr. Jim mentioned it. That's why you can handle it. But I appreciate you, Mr. Jim, as always.
Right.
Thanks for thanks for getting me started on this sunny Thursday morning here in the WURD studios. Let me go to Maurice out of Southwest Philly, who's calling in for a reality check. Maurice, what's good?
Man, I love you so much, brother, that when you left, it got cloudy. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, I love you too, brother. I appreciate you.
You're 100% right about these fools, and I hate to say one of them's on the station here, that keeps talking about reparations and keeps talking about Michael Jackson and the idiot from Chicago. He should have been in jail 20 years ago. But he's not talking about what's going on right now. He's not going to win the election talking about reparations, because you have to have the House, the Senate, and you definitely need the president. And then there's a long shot.
Right.
So let's be real. Let's stop making these people think that reparations is right around the corner.
Right.
We don't do nothing in 2022, plus this election, we won't even be close.
No.
Now, as far as what's going on with the city, what you were saying about the schools and the solar panels, you got to understand, this man making all this money off this solar tax for rebuild,
right,
and the libraries only want more of a cut than just $2 million so they can stay and put on Saturdays You want violence to stop in the streets. You got to have kids doing something not only 5 days a week, but the libraries should be open 7 days a week to keep them kids busy.
Right.
And some of that money should be going to summer jobs, so these kids know that when they get out of school, they'll have something to do.
Right.
But if you listen, you got to break down their speeches on what they say at their speech. When he gave the thing for that budget, people just heard it and they just accepted that nonsense. Everything he said in that budget was a lie. Then you go to Darryl Clark with Cody's interview. Come to find out, he would not. Remember, we talked about it yesterday. He would not tell anybody how much the houses were. When Cody asked him, he went to another subject.
Well, we found out yesterday.
I know, but I'm just saying, when he was interviewed by Cody Anderson over the weekend, he would not let him know how much those houses were. So we got to understand this game that they're playing with us right now. And if we don't, we keep talking about what's going on with Trump, but we don't handle our city situation right here and now. We're going to be out. And one more thing, another big issue came up, but nobody's talking about it, is that the SEPTA cops came back on. The big issue was they wanted to review their body cams before they wrote their report. Now, you know, all they're doing is want to adjust what happened on their paperwork in case they trying to hide something.
Right.
And nobody's talking about that. Now, imagine if cops could do that. Regular cops.
Right.
Why accept the cops getting that privilege to overview what's... That's like looking at the test and then say, all right, give me the test. I'm going to write the answer. You know
Which is what they did at college admissions.
Right. That's essentially what they did with college admissions. Right.
Right, and the same thing with that. You know, that's been going on forever. I don't know why everybody's so shocked about the college scheme. College kids that have money have always been buying term papers and other situations. But now they're just getting ridiculous with taking pictures of their kids in sporting gear and trying to get them a college scholarship. Oh, no. Money buys everything.
Money buys everything. It's not about a meritocracy. Everybody trying to sell that American dream meritocracy.
I want to let somebody else get on because I think I talk too much because they're probably looking for me now. I'm scared to cross the street right now. But I want to tell you, you know what's going on. When I call out the 5 people that need to go, 6 people need to go, the mayor, Kenny, Jones, Blackwell, Johnson, and I'm missing one other in there. They got to go, but guess what? You only got 2 months, and nobody's telling them you only got 2 months to make up their mind.
It's a big deal, and coming up in 2 months, you're absolutely right. In May, we got the Democratic citywide primaries that are coming up in May, and it's a fairly significant moment. It really is. It's not just a significant moment in terms of city politics, but it's also a significant moment. It's a dress rehearsal for 2020. It really, truly is. A lot of folks showed up in a way they didn't in 2014 for 2018, and that was good. So we need more people to turn out and show up. If you really want to have some more local impact, some more dramatic impact, you got to turn out in 2019 for the citywide election. Real quick, I want to get Abdul Jabbar before I roll on because I can feel like that rant bubbling up. So let me go to Abdul Jabbar out of West Philly. Brother, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
All right, good.
All right. 2 things, real quick. I'm just curious because I'll keep hearing people say they want Councilman Johnson out of office, right? My thing is this. Okay. First of all,
talking about Kenyatta Johnson, Councilman Kenyatta Johnson, right?
Councilman Kenyatta Johnson. I would like to know how many of these people that want Councilman Johnson out of office know about the proposed bill that he presented to City Council that would hold the banks in the city of Philadelphia accountable and begin a discussion about discrimination. First of all, discriminating against minorities. I've never heard of a city council member even considering having that conversation. Number 2, the idea of Councilman Johnson proposing a bill that would make it an even playing field and giving some equitable resource distribution at the Philadelphia International Airport. Do you know about that bill?
No. Tell me more about it.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. You say your email, I'm going to send these bills to you. The thing is this: I'm from South Philadelphia, the same place he grew up, right? And I had choices that I had to make the same way he had choices he had to make. One thing I realized is we're tough on each other, but we have been complacent with an administration for decades that look nothing like us.
Yeah.
So the reality is this: don't think that you get a special favor because someone looks like you.
Right.
We need to step to the plate and hold every single one of them accountable.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they look like. And the fact of the matter is, if we would like to see something done, we need to be consistent about applying pressure and presenting the issues that we'd like to see done or dealt with. And I'm saying all that to say, I don't think anybody's perfect, but I'm not going to knock him or Councilman Curtis Jones, Cheryl Parker. I'm gonna step up. I didn't like the fact that Councilman Jones supported that idea to name the street after Wilson Good. I came there and I presented my statement. And other than that, I respect the work that Councilman Jones and all of them do. But we can't just sit back and expect for them to be these perfect individuals. But at the end of the day, we're not even voting nowhere near 50. There aren't even 50% of us that come out and vote on a consistent basis.
Yeah, during these local elections, right.
Relevant.
Right.
Thank you very much. Now, the second thing, the library. The mayor should be ashamed of himself for not even addressing that issue. Got to go to the bathroom, Mama? I've wanted to give that $15 million to the libraries. It shouldn't even be a question.
Right.
The fact of the matter is it would definitely reduce crime. It would decrease recidivism.
It would.
And it would give our children an opportunity to have a safe haven.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak my piece. Have a good day, man.
All right, you do the same, Abdul. I appreciate that. And I'm living proof of the value of Philadelphia's public library system. I mean, I grew up with a library literally right down the street from my doorstep. Without that library, without Logan Library, I don't know where I would have ended up. I mean, there were just like two pivotal crossroads moments in my life, one of them being the existence, the presence of Logan Public Library. And it's sad, and once again, it's embarrassing the way this city devalues or minimizes the value, diminishes the value of its library system, because Abdul-Jabbar is spot on, and folks like Maurice and others are spot on as far as how essential libraries are in terms of, okay, so you're acknowledging you have a public safety problem, you got a bit of a crime problem here. Libraries help. That's easy. That's low-hanging fruit. That's low-hanging fruit. The school system has a violence problem too. It also has a bullying problem. There you go. You got your libraries. I mean, you had this issue of, okay, well, you don't get the exact level of curriculum that you would like or desire inside the classroom. Well, you got your local library to handle that. There's just so many different things. I mean, in terms of recidivism, in terms of workforce development, in terms of utilizing libraries as hubs of commerce and community decision making and conversation and planning. Libraries are it.
And our seniors,
exactly.
The library actually has a program to bring mobile food trucks into the communities. There's 3 mobile food trucks that they will bring to the community to teach the community how to make different meals and eat healthy. And I mean, imagine another food truck. That's 4 food trucks.
Right.
Now we got 4 areas of Philadelphia in 4 different directions.
Right. Common sense, practical. Once again, I like to always use this phrase, low-hanging fruit, and very efficient and low-cost solutions. It's just staring at us in the face, just staring Philly in the face, like, hey, I'm here. Like,
take advantage.
Take advantage of me. Like, I'm your local library. Hey, y'all, like, take advantage of me. And so I don't get it. I don't get it, the city's attitude, this city's rather just somewhat, just fiscally hostile sentiment towards libraries. I don't get it from the mayor to city council. I mean, libraries are your gym. There's so many things that libraries do.
It feels like there's underneath the surface, there's a simmering us versus them, elite versus those folks that feel that they're beyond the libraries. That's just for them. That's for
That's for them.
These old people who are literary, or these kids. And it's
don't even talk about the literacy problem we got in the city. That's another big can of worms beans that we got to unpack. Philly has one of the worst like illiteracy rates in the country.
I didn't
right?
know that.
And so like especially as far as adult illiteracy.
Right.
And so I think you have a situation here where you have like over a quarter of working adults here in this city in Philadelphia. Libraries have served as a vehicle that's the front line of battling Philadelphia's literacy problem or illiteracy issue. So it's so many things that libraries could do, and it's like it's free. They're free spaces. They're places that people can use. And
I think that people don't really understand that when you talk about literacy, you're talking about not just being able to read. The United States labels illiteracy as the inability to read, comprehend, and then act.
Right.
You can't act on, like, if you read a prescription,
right,
but you don't know it says take 2 pills.
Right.
That's actually a health issue.
Right.
So the United States looks at the literacy rate is not just you can't read, but then you don't know how to comprehend.
That's a public health. Right. That's a public health emergency. You're absolutely right, Martin. Spot on with that observation. Let me take a quick break. Went a little over time there, so we had to bring on our next guest, actually, Mark LeBlanc, who is a senior policy analyst with the Commonwealth Foundation. I want to talk about charter schools in Philadelphia. Recent round rejection of charter school applications recently here in Philadelphia. So Mark LeBlanc wants to talk a little bit about that, add some perspective to it here on Reality Check 96.1 FM, 900 AM, wordradio.com. Also, Word app. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And Word TV, too. We'll be right back.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Tammy Souza.
Partly cloudy skies overnight and very mild conditions with temperatures in the upper 40s and low to mid 50s. For your Friday, filtered sunshine with some isolated showers throughout the day and the best chance of rain coming in late in the day and through the evening hours. We could also see an isolated thunderstorm. Temperatures will be in the 60s and 70s. The weekend ahead looks pleasant, generally in the 40s and 50s with plenty of sunshine. Remember, you can get the forecast anytime you like. Just download the free NBC 10 app.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
A crash on 95 northbound. This report is sponsored by Mattress Warehouse Philadelphia. A crash on 95 northbound at Girard Avenue. Two right lanes are blocked. You have stopped traffic from Columbus Boulevard. Also, this is affecting 95 southbound at Girard Avenue. It's jammed from the Betsy Ross Bridge. A fireboard is on the scene there for the northbound accident. An accident on the PA Turnpike westbound between Fort Washington and the Northeast Extension. Two left lanes are blocked because of it. And an accident cleared on the Schuylkill eastbound between 202 and Gulf Mills. Again, still a jam up, but it is moving again. Don't miss the spring savings sale going on right now at Mattress Warehouse. Buy one Kingsdown mattress, get the second one free, and get the lowest prices on Tempur-Pedic during the Mattress Warehouse floor model clearance event. Visit sleephappens.com for a location near you. For more traffic information, go to Sigler.com. I'm Ann Evans with your Philadelphia area traffic.
News you can use exclusively on Wake Up with Word. Hosted by the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. Weekdays, 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. on Word Radio, wordradio.com, and on the Word Radio app.
Temple University was founded on the belief that everyone in our city deserves an opportunity to do and be more. Today, that's still our belief. We are committed to strengthening Philadelphia, starting with the community we share with our neighbors. Scott Charles and Amy Goldberg lead several programs at Temple that aim to reduce gun violence, a serious public health problem affecting many communities in Philadelphia.
I've said it a number of times, I really wouldn't want to work anywhere else, and it's really special. I don't take it for granted when I drive up Broad Street every morning to come to work. The privilege that it is to care for patients in this community, to work side by side with our medical school faculty and our hospital staff. It is really very special.
One of the things that drives me and compels me to keep doing this is my belief that we can change this, that we do not have to accept the rates of gun violence as a city as this insurmountable challenge. And, this is why I continue to do this work, with the hope that we're going to see fewer shootings, we're going to see people better off than they were when we met them.
See what's possible, temple.edu.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM, WURD. The Kimmel Center offers free arts education programs to schools across the region. Teaching artists visit classrooms to educate, engage, and inspire the next generation using creative learning experiences, and schools take trips to the Kimmel Center for live performances. The Kimmel Center is committed to educating Philadelphia's youth by providing access to quality arts. For more information, visit kimmelcenter.org.
Since 1904, Philly's top sandwich pros and homemakers have always started the exact same way, with those legendary Amoroso's rolls baked fresh daily. Word family, put Amoroso's rolls on your shopping list for your kids' school lunches and your next family gathering. Want to make your very best sandwiches? Always start with the very best sandwich rolls. Pick them up today at your favorite supermarket or food store. Amoroso's, why Philly's sandwiches are world famous.
Creator Roofing. That's the company my dad runs. He's a great roofer and a father too. I've watched my dad over the years. He really cares about his customers like he cares about our family. My dad has been a licensed bonded roofer for over 20 years. He runs Creator Roofing, he's a block captain, and he started Streets of Hope, a ministry to feed, clothe, and shelter the homeless. Call my dad because he cares about people at 267-333-1778.
Hi, this is Brandon Wallace, the owner of Creator Roofing. Please give us a call at 267-333-1778.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and WordRadio.com.
All right, welcome back to Reality Check. We're here in the WURD studios. It's the home of Black Talk Media here in Pennsylvania. We're actually the only Black Talk station, and I actually just met a
on the East Coast.
On the East Coast, on the East Coast. Like, yeah, it's beyond the Keystone State. Right. It's actually on the East Coast. Actually, I had met a brother too. While we were down at City Hall earlier this afternoon, and he was like, so we were taking like photos and whatnot. So he's like, y'all were you like models? And we're like, no, we're a radio show hosts. He's like, oh, Word? Like which radio station? I said, actually, it's that station, Word. He was like, oh wow, you know, and I'm like, yeah, we're the only station of its kind in the entire state, and. He was like, I didn't realize that, so probably got a new listener. But go to wordradio.com, WURDradio.com if you want to live stream, which many of you do beyond the greater Philadelphia area, and also by WURD app. You can download that on your smartphone, your tablet device as well, which I love to let people know. And also, real quick before we go on to our next guest, go to WURDradio.com. You want to learn more about the Level Up 3-City contest that we're doing with our partners in Chicago and Los Angeles. We are the Independent Black Media Consortium as well, WRD, WVON in Chicago, and KJLH in Los Angeles. And so we have the Level Up contest, which is a celebration of Women's History Month. And we're looking for young black women who are making an impact in the community, who are leaders. You identify them for us. They have to be between the ages of 18 to 35, and you can nominate them at WURDradio.com. Just go there and check out for the look out for the Level Up banner. So definitely very excited about that contest. Submissions are due by March 29th. So definitely want to get more information. You want to hurry up and identify that person, that young sister who is very impactful, who is leading in your community, who is really truly making a difference. Mark LeBlanc is a senior policy analyst with the Commonwealth Foundation. Occasionally we have their experts here on this program. Go to commonwealthfoundation.org for more information. It's a think tank. And one of the issues that they focus on regularly is whenever they're now focusing on the budget, on the state budget especially, is education. And more specifically, Mark has been concerned about charter schools in Philadelphia. There's been some significant decisions that have been made recently in recent months, weeks, with respect to the future of Philadelphia's charter schools. And Mark joins us by phone. Mark, how are you doing?
I am doing fine, Charles. It's a beautiful day. And first of all, thank you so much for having me on. This is such an important issue for Pennsylvanians, for Philadelphians, for Philadelphia families. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about it today.
No, thanks for your time. I appreciate this. It is a wonderful day, too, weather-wise. So, Mark, what is happening right now? So because Philadelphia had this moment where it seemed like it was expanding charter schools, but there's a big national conversation going on, though, because people are watching Philly, and recently the Philadelphia School Board had rejected applications for 3 new charters. And what's happening now? So we're starting to see like some real big, significant, not just political or rhetorical pushback, but administrative, regulatory pushback on charter schools in Philly.
It's a great point, Charles. As you know, Pennsylvania sets the tone nationally. Philadelphia sets the tone for Pennsylvania. So what has happened recently is the school board had 3 charter applications up for review, and I've heard maybe they're looking to distinguish themselves in some way from the former SRC. I don't know if any of that's true, but unfortunately, the 3 applications were denied. And to be frank, it's disappointing because given the dire need in Philadelphia, given the lack of opportunity, I mean, given that we're seeing 30,000 applications on the new charter application portal, given that families are choosing to go in droves to charter schools, you've got 70,000 students now in that sector. Clearly, there's a need that's not being met for many parents by their zip code district schools. They need alternatives, and unfortunately, it's just not a good time to be denying those opportunities to families.
Now, from the perspective of folks like or individuals such as the Philadelphia School Board President, Joyce Wilkerson, also other people such as Donna Cooper with Public Citizens for Children and Youth, they're saying that they've just evolved in terms of the traditional charter consideration process, that it's not necessarily a rejection of charter schools or the charter school model. It's just that they felt like, one, you know what, we're better at this process now in selecting or pointing out or identifying quality charter schools. And 2, there were some folks who felt like, well, the charter school applications that were submitted recently just weren't that well done. So what's your thought on that?
My thought is, Charles, there were many reasons given by the school board for why the applications were denied or deferred, or however we would frame it. The vast majority of those centered on curriculum, disciplinary procedures, and I think it's interesting, perhaps a little ironic. People who are wanting to get away from their district schools, they're perhaps dissatisfied with the curriculum at the district school, or they're dissatisfied with the disciplinary policy, well, dictating in some way disciplinary policy, curriculum policy.
More as far as like accountability mechanisms or oversight mechanisms for charter schools, more specifically charter schools in Philadelphia?
Oh, absolutely. The school accountable. And the ultimate accountability is when the parents have a choice to go somewhere else. If the money's going...
Yesterday, Mark, with a newly elected member of the State House, I'm not sure if you was on this program yesterday, and she was saying that parents need to have options. That she did not care for the state of which I thought was rather it was rather intriguing. It was rather compelling them, but they got to get it together. Basically, is what she was saying, and she's had her she's put her grandsons in charter schools and public charter schools. So. There's that other thing about it's kind of interesting, right, Mark? I mean, on one hand, you have a lot of parents, because you have about a quarter of Philadelphia public school students are enrolled in charters. Made that distinction, have they been able to sift?
They know their kids. They know what their kids need. So when I'm hearing the candidates saying supporting options, supporting choice, it's wonderful. But for look or some other educational option. But the point is, when the parents have a choice, that's when the kid's really going to have the opportunity to thrive, to grow into a successful, for 14 open seats in charter school. So that's 150 to 1. So just gives some sort of scope to the demand. So parents are sensing this need for their children, given that they know what their children need.
That big battle in that conversation, I feel like we got to have a part 2, part 3 of this conversation too. While I'm running up on time here, but while I got you for maybe another minute, as far there was a lot of resistance, and predictably so, from teachers unions to these charter school applications, and so there's this constant bout or struggle, tug of war between education reform advocates for charter schools, and also teachers unions. And so have education reform advocates charter schools or online schools or hybrid blended model schools? Like, I need to know what's in it.
A step back, you know, and acknowledging the purpose of the education system is to give each child the best education possible. What do kids need? They need great teachers. They need the best teachers. And choice is good for teachers, too. For teachers competing for their labor, teachers' salaries go up, teaching conditions go up. So choice is good for teachers as well.
Discussion about this. Appreciate your time.
Would love to. Appreciate it, Charles.
All right, excellent. All right, we'll be in touch. Mark LeBlanc at the CommonwealthFoundation.org here on Reality Check. And we're going to take a quick break. If you have some thoughts with respect to charter schools, the state of Philadelphia public school system, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Education, as I wrote about that in the Philadelphia Inquirer last month, about 2019 could be an education election cycle, like the topic of education. And I just realized, like, I wrote two competing pieces in two different local Philly publications. One where I was arguing education is the issue for 2019, and then another where I was arguing environment needs to be the issue in the Philadelphia. But they both are very intersecting.
Why can't it be both? For instance,
could be both. Yeah, it can.
We have Solarized Philly that has a summer youth employment program.
That's right.
And they're looking for, and when we come back from the break, we can give the exact information.
Let's do that.
Of who to contact over there if you have a young person between the ages of 16 and 21. But they're starting them off with education this summer. So they're not actually going to install anything this summer. Then when they come back to their next program, it's going to be an apprenticeship. And so they'll actually go out in the streets and actually get their hands dirty and actually install solar panels as an apprenticeship.
Let's talk more about that after the break. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get engaged in a conversation about it. But you're right. They could both be the big key issues of the 2019 election. Let's take a quick break. 215-634-8065. 866-361-0900, toll free here on Reality Check. You can join in on the conversation. I've got Martin Pratt, who is our co-host for our Reality Tech segment. So, but he's sticking around. He's just sticking out throughout the entire show and co-hosting today here on Reality Check. We got Jordan Booth here, guest executive producing here at the Board of Steel. So let's take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll hear from you.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Tammy Souza.
About the day and the best chance of rain coming in late in the day and through the evening hours. We could also see an isolated thunderstorm. Temperatures will be in the 60s and 70s. The weekend ahead looks pleasant, generally in the 40s and 50s with plenty of sunshine. Remember, you can get the forecast anytime you like. Just download the free NBC 10 app.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
A crash on 95 northbound. This report is sponsored by Mattress Warehouse Philadelphia. A crash on 95 northbound at Girard Avenue. Two right lanes are blocked. You have stopped traffic from Columbus Boulevard. Also, this is affecting 95 southbound at Girard Avenue. It's jammed from the Betsy Ross Bridge. A fireboard is on the scene there for the northbound accident. An accident on the PA Turnpike westbound between Fort Washington and the Northeast Extension. Two left lanes are blocked because of it. And an accident cleared on the Schuylkill eastbound between 202 and Gulf Mills. Again, still a jam up, but it is moving again. Don't miss the spring savings sale going on right now at Mattress Warehouse. Buy one Kingsdown mattress, get the second one free, and get the lowest prices on Tempur-Pedic during the Mattress Warehouse floor model clearance event. Visit sleephappens.com for a location near you. For more traffic information, go to Sigler.com. I'm Ann Evans with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Brothers and sisters! Don't miss The Source. Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Word Radio, WordRadio.com, and the Word Radio app. This Black History Month, Woodmere Art Museum presents the opening of Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, master watercolorist and renowned illustrator. Celebrated worldwide, Pinkney's works present spirited watercolors and powerful depictions focusing on the civil rights struggle and the pursuit of freedom. Featuring over 100 artist illustrations, including Charles Blockson's groundbreaking Escape from Slavery, The Underground Railroad. You don't want to miss this.
Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, now through May 12th. Visit woodmereartmuseum.org.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation? Follow us on social media using the hashtag onWURD. Be heard. Stay connected to Word Radio. Independent Black Media. Brown's ShopRite is celebrating the grand reopening of Brown's Parkside, 52nd and Jefferson Streets. Experience a new and improved store designed with you in mind. Brown's Parkside location is your go-to for everything you need to make a delicious cook-at-home meal. Or you can visit their brand new Salad Works location and extensive hot bar, featuring a full selection of foods for all palates and dietary needs. You can also order from their catering menu for that special occasion. And yes, the beer garden will be fully stocked to accommodate your beverage of choice. Word family, check out the new and improved Browns of Parkside. Stop in to celebrate the grand reopening. Browns has something for everyone. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and WordRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. We're in studio here in or the home of Black Talk Media, WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WordRadio.com, also by Word app as well. Have quite a few callers here. Let me go ahead and take them before I go into an extended rant. Well, real quick, too, the very important news that's coming out of Washington. We should note some somewhat breaking news. The Senate, the Republican-dominated Senate in Washington, voting to overturn President Trump's declaration of a national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border. That happened today in a 59-41 vote on a House-passed measure, and that was the measure to reject the national emergency, the president evoking or activating the National Emergency Acts. That's a fairly big deal because it's a Republican-dominated Senate, but in a 59-41 vote, they rejected that emergency declaration. They also approved the House's version of that, and it was not. It was just about. Yeah, it was still shy of the votes needed to override a predictable veto from President Trump. This is the first time that he will use his veto pen in basically rejecting the rejection of his National Emergency Act activation for this border wall, to use those funds for the border wall. But a significant number of Republicans, at least for them, about 12 Republicans joining Democrats to reject that emergency declaration, including Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania. So Senator Pat Toomey, he's probably sweating a little bit. Pat Toomey is not up for re-election until 2022, but he might be seeing a little bit of writing on the wall, as are other Republicans in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, once again, being a big battleground. And once again, this is why it is important for you to pay attention to this citywide race, to use this 2019 citywide race as a dress rehearsal for 2020. Pay attention. You got a primary coming up on May 21st. So you definitely want to participate and turn out and vote for that. Let me go to the phone lines. We got John out of Germantown who's calling in for a reality check.
Thanks for taking my call. Let me change the conversation a little bit.
Sure.
I got a question.
Yes. Go ahead.
Do you know of any white man that went to his death in the court of law for killing somebody black? Do you know of any?
Oh, anybody who's on death row?
No. Do you know of any white man went to his death for killing a black man in America, and they killed hundreds of thousands of us? Do you know of any?
No, any white man who's been convicted to death, or sentenced to death for killing a black man. No, I don't know.
Well, that's terrible.
That is terrible, right?
That's so bad. So, in other words, we need to get paid. We need reparations. Because we live in a country, a stolen country, and we are stolen people. We're 400 years, and we don't talk about it.
Right.
That political thing, we need to get paid. The only thing we got paid is murdered, lynched, and hung.
Right.
But nobody want to talk about
how does that
politics. We don't need that.
When you say, Mr. John, we need to get paid, what does that look like? What's the structure?
Let me explain to you what I say.
Right. What's the structure of that? Right.
Let me tell you what I mean. Say get paid.
Right.
We worked and made this country the richest country on the planet.
Right.
Only thing we got was murdered and killed. Free labor. There was 14 trillion. That's the number. And we sit up here talking about some politics. We need to get paid. We were murdered and lynched.
Okay, but I'll push back on you a little bit. It's not just politics. It is yes, it is a game. And the Rastas like to call it politics. But listen, it is a space that we need to learn how to dominate, because you can't. Let me tell you, something Mitch McConnell said. And Mitch McConnell's right on this. I don't normally agree with Mitch McConnell. I don't normally agree with Mitch McConnell, but you know what, Mitch McConnell. Listen to what I'm saying, Mr. John. Give me a second here. But this is important. This is an important point. Election losers do not shape policy. Reparations, or the need for reparations, that's a policy argument. It is a policy imperative. You can't pass it if you lose in elections. So you got it. So that politics thing, you got to do it if you want to get to that point. You're gonna have to just don't hate the players, just hate the game and dominate it.
If you can't figure one white man went to his death for killing somebody,
right?
That's terrible.
It is terrible. You're right. I agree with you on that.
One reason we should get paid there, because they killed hundreds of thousands of us.
Right.
It took 14 trillion.
Right. On principle, we should get paid.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
We should get paid, but I'm telling you, the first step towards getting to that point.
A black life must not be enough. If you can't come up with one man who went to his death for killing somebody black.
Right. I'm gonna let you go, Mr. Jack, because I got some other folks I want to take. But once again, people cannot diminish the need to participate in politics and to be civically engaged. You do that at your own peril. You really do. So, I had to push back against that whole notion of politics, and then suddenly a whole bunch of people don't end up voting in 2019, coming up on May 21st, or don't vote in 2020, and then they want to blame everybody. Then when they don't vote and things go to pot, right? Then they're like, oh, them people in City Hall, all them people. It's like, well, did you vote? They want to talk about President Obama. It's like, did you vote in 2010 and 2014 to back President Obama up? No.
And I think that we may slightly fail to understand how pivotal Pennsylvania is, and how pivotal Philadelphia to Pennsylvania. So that makes a direct connection, unlike a lot of other places that don't have the power per se. Pennsylvania has the power. It's a swing. It's in play.
The ultimate swing state.
Yes. And you can't win the election nationally without PA. And so, I would love for PA to have another party just that puts out policy or puts out platform, like the hip hop. Remember the hip hop political congress, maybe Philadelphians, primarily our word listeners need to form just a platform, here's the platform policies, and we can get that from our black agenda that we did.
That's right. Black Philly could be owning that, y'all don't know. Y'all do not know. That's how significant Pennsylvania, this region, Philadelphia region alone, it's a gold mine. It's a gold mine for national elections. People don't realize that. Let me go to, just like, city doesn't realize how much of a gem libraries are, for example. Let me go to Tim in Springfield, who's calling in for a reality check. Thanks, Tim, for your patience. Appreciate it.
Hi. Sorry to change the subject. I wanted to go back to the Commonwealth speaker. His last point that he made, I wish you would have called him on it. And just a note about the Senate, Republicans, it's about time some men got some backbone in that Senate to go against Trump. But anyways, there's no way that having charter schools and parochial and private schools causes salaries of teachers to increase. It just doesn't do it, because charter schools and private schools pay their teachers less than public schools. So if they're pulling kids, that means there's fewer public school teachers and they're being paid more. There's just no way that those kind of schools raise the salaries of teachers. And I don't know where he gets that idea from.
I think what he was saying, Tim, it's a good point, though, Tim. And the reason I didn't call him out on it for two reasons. One, I want to see the research that he's pointing to, and I actually claim ignorance here a bit, as far as that's concerned. So one, I need to see the research. Two, I think he was saying that overall, like in the public school space, it's been shown that public school teacher salaries increase. So, because there's increased pressure and competition on the public school space, that creates disruption. I hate using that word, but for lack of a better term, it creates disruption, enough disruption where suddenly then you have things that happen like contract renegotiations, teachers striking, and then suddenly they get more salary because of those disruptions that are happening. And on account of these new changes on the education landscape, like the injection of charter schools and private schools. And I do know a few charter school networks that actually pay better. Now they don't have those worker protections, those union protections for the teachers like public schools do. But I do know of a few. There's one system in California that actually pays their teachers better. That's like a a 60,000 student charter school network in California that actually does a fine job of that as far as teachers pay. But obviously they're not like union, right? So so that's that one big kind of piece or element that's in there. But they it depends on how well funded and how well managed that charter school is.
Okay, well, thank you. And next time you have him on, you might ask him about the studies that are done about the people that own the charter schools.
Got it.
And how much money they make. Because a typical example is Chester Commonwealth Charter School, which is the largest one in Pennsylvania. And look at the owners. They live on the main line. They live in mansions, and they have homes down along the Florida coast. They reap millions of dollars off the backs of the children in Chester.
Right.
Anybody that knows education knows that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Tim. Right. I will ask him about that, because you have charter schools. You have some charter schools like that who are involved in all sorts of unsavory budgetary behavior. Let me go to Madeline in Overbrook, who's calling in for a reality check. Ms. Madeline, how are you doing?
I am fine. Thank you, sir, for taking my call.
Yes, ma'am.
I had two questions. I wanted to ask the young man about the fact that of the 68 counties in the state of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia is the only one from the very beginning, not in the middle, not 10 years later, not 100 years later. From the very beginning, we did not have the right to choose our own school board. And I'd really like to have his response to that.
Okay.
We talked about it here in Philadelphia. The educated people don't seem to like the idea as much as we uneducated people. And maybe because we see the bottom of the barrel so clearly. Okay, that's one part. That's the main piece, that we would need that question on the ballot.
Right.
And I believe that if you looked at it carefully, you would see also from the very beginning there are pieces of such that our children stay in the bottom. And when they get to third, fourth grade, they get them the reading up to there. But Dr. Ackerman was pushing that because she had a parent institute, and she gave parents a booklet. I'm cleaning out some stuff. I've been living in this house 55 years for change. And it's called the Office of Teaching and Learning, and for kindergarten. And I shared with you what she says for reading and writing. By the end of your school year, your kindergarten should be able to talk about the characters and the setting in a story that they read or heard. Retell a story in order that they heard or read it. Use the pictures and the words to understand a story. Read at least 50 words that are found in many stories, such as ran, with, us, the, etc. Draw a picture and write labels for the parts of the picture. Correctly spell some of the words that they say and read, often, such as are, with, play, you. Do you know that on the main line, kids going to school there, any problem that they have, right within that school, they have tutors to help them work with them. Our kids don't get that. And the fact that some of them get to school hungry, mad because they're wearing the same thing for the third day or whatever, it is just such a painful environment for so many of the children that attend the Philadelphia, with parents making $7, $8 an hour. You see how it all plays in together?
It does.
And then they're off to the penitentiary. And then they still can't take care of the children. And I don't even know if they feel that they're responsible to do it, because everything is so hard for them to catch up to. And so that's one question. I know that's a long question, but I just wanted you to pick Dr. Ackerman. Let me tell you, and you know what they did to Dr. Ackerman in this town? They fired her on a lie that the board told. That second floor of the school board remains to be the people who keep their feet on the backs of our children. They remain to be those people by fabricating, by doing all kinds of things that take away from our children. And of course, we want the parents to do more, and the parents can do more if they're taught more. The civics, a lot of people, civics used to be taught in school when I went to school. I went to school in Philadelphia. I'm born and raised in Philadelphia, 85 years old. Marie Chase was my first principal. Hasn't been too long ago and died. What a magnificent woman. You know,
Hey, Ms. Madeline, no, I appreciate those thoughts too, but those are questions. You gave me some good food for thought, because we are going to bring LeBlond back, and I appreciate you. I actually have to let you go because we have to go into we ran on time. We have to go into a break. Thank you so much, though, Ms. Madeline, for calling in and sharing those thoughts, and definitely for that question too. I'm going to ask LeBlond that when we get him back very soon. And Tim out of Springfield, thank you for that, for those thoughts as well, and John from Germantown too. Let's take a very quick break. When we come back on the other side, we got Letitia B. Well, the phone lines will stay open. Phone lines will stay open. 215-634-8065. Also 866-361-0900. And then also we have Center for Public Integrity's Letitia Beecham. She joins us here regularly. She's a regular Reality Check WURD contributor, and want to talk about some recent developments in that 2020 Democratic presidential primary. So she's coming up next. Politics reporter for the Center for Public Integrity, Letitia Beecham, next here on Reality Check 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WordRadio.com, Word TV, Word app. We'll be right back.
Listen to Word Radio on the go with the Word Radio app. Search for WURD in your favorite app store today and take us with you wherever you go. Stay connected to Word Radio, independent black media.
This winter, keep the cold air outside and the warm air in with a Pico Energy Assessment. For just $25, a Pico Energy Advisor will come to your home and recommend ways to save energy and money. Here's what one of your neighbors said about her assessment.
I simply can't say enough about how great the Energy Advisor was and wanted to make sure you knew what an extraordinary job she did.
Schedule your assessment today at pico.com/assessment or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE. That's pico.com/assessment or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE. Plus, you may be eligible for an assessment for free.
Hey, Brother Shamari, I hear you talking about JD's Auto Body and Painting. That's where I go.
Nick, I know the owner, JD, personally, and they always take care of me. You asked me, I told you about JD's when you needed car repairs. I've been spreading the word about their professional work.
I know. I remember now, you sure did. They're at 6300 Wayne Avenue in Germantown, right?
215-848-5949. That's 215-848-5949. I know, I have it memorized.
Now, we both agree that JD's Auto Body and Painting is the place to take your car for all your auto body repair and painting needs. They work with all insurance companies and free towing with repairs.
Yeah, free estimates and senior discounts too.
But I bet you didn't know JD's has a 10% discount for WURD listeners.
Come on, Nick. I know Juanita, JD's wife since elementary school. Tell them Brother Shamari sent you, and you can mention Nick too.
Yeah, that's right. Call JD's today at 215-848-5949. Hi, everybody. This is Nick inviting you to buy your next car from Jerry and the fellows over at Cardex. See, they're not dealers. They're like a car concierge service. They design a car around you. Almost any make. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and get it for you. So use my car concierge, where I've already bought 4 cars. Cardex at 116 East Glenside Avenue in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Check them out online at cardexinc.com or call Cardex at 215-886-3230.
Since 1904, Philly's top sandwich pros and homemakers have always started the exact same way, with those legendary Amoroso's rolls baked fresh daily. Word family, put Amoroso's rolls on your shopping list for your kids' school lunches and your next family gathering. Want to make your very best sandwiches? Always start with the very best sandwich rolls. Pick them up today at your favorite supermarket or food store. Amoroso's, why Philly's sandwiches are world famous.
We are progressive and proud and interactive. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at onWURD. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
Welcome back to Reality Check. It is the Thursday edition. It's the, as you know, it is the end of the Reality Check week. It's the end of the Reality Check week, so it's Mondays through Thursdays, 4 through 7 p.m. But 96.1 FM, 900 AM, also wordradio.com, Word app as well. And don't forget about Word TV, too. You can watch it. We're being streamed live on Facebook, or just go to YouTube. It's youtube.com/onWord, right?
Exactly.
Yep, YouTube. We have our own YouTube Word TV channel. And you can watch us live here in studio, so you don't get that opportunity often here on Reality Check with your host and executive producer here in studio with my man Martin Pratt. who is co-hosting today. Also waiting for our reality tech segment that's going to be coming up very shortly. But let's bring on Letitia Beacham, politics reporter for the Center for Public Integrity. Letitia, how are you doing? It's good to talk with you.
Yes, I'm doing well. How are you, Charles?
All right, good, good. I want to apologize, too, on air. I know we were supposed to meet up recently and had a little calendar snafu. We were supposed to meet up recently in Washington, D.C., and so that was a calendar snafu. And mine has been crazy since I've been getting back from extended time overseas and elsewhere. So it's real good to have you on.
Oh, no worries at all.
Excellent. So I just had to do that. I just had to do a little public mea culpa. So talk about, we got Beto O'Rourke. He's jumped into the race. People had expected that. And so what does this mean for this Democratic 2020 presidential primary as that's shaping up? So my first thought on that is that's trouble for Bernie Sanders.
Yes, it is trouble for Bernie Sanders. However, I think Beto entering the race is now a potential centrist that Democrats are seeking. The current poll of candidates have either made some type of watershed issue their main thing, whether that's immigration, whether that is criminal justice. But with Beto, you have someone who is kind of in the middle on all those things. He's never labeled himself as a progressive. Actually, I believe during his campaign, he's like, I don't believe in labels, right?
Okay.
So he hasn't labeled himself as someone who is extremely far left. However, what this means for the rest of the candidates is, you know, how much of those small dollar contributions are going to go their way still, considering he had so much popularity among donors during his Senate race,
right.
Where he raised, I think it was either 83 or 80.3 million alone, which was a record for any Senate candidate in history. So Beto has a lot of steam behind him. However, one thing that could be a hindrance for him, perhaps, is that he would be the only person, should he win the nomination and should he ascend to being president, to skip a seat. He will only go from the House straight to the White House, and that is something that is unheard of. And I would imagine going forward, as the debates heat up, as he's making more town halls, like the experience level is something that will probably come up for him and will be a challenge. Yeah. Because Beto doesn't really have that that cornerstone policy issue. Kind of stated, you know, around immigration. He's all about inclusivity, but his record doesn't really indicate that he is definitely pro something. There is nothing. There was nothing that was really pivotal about his campaign when he was running, and he's going to have to face that going forward.
That's an interesting observation you make, Letitia, because I've heard that often in analysis on Beto, and whether it's like public analysis or just talking to people in the political space, and they're like, you know, particularly people on the left who are like, you know, I don't know if O'Rourke is really a progressive. You know, he kind of dresses like he's a progressive, and you know, he's got the whole skater thing going on. You know, he dresses like he, you know, because he's skate, you know, he's going video, you know, doing tricks, doing grind on steps, and you know, you don't want to break a bone. I can't do what I used to do when I used to skate, but you know, because if I break a bone, it won't heal. But you know, so he has this kind of progressive aura about, or cosmetic about him, but people are very skeptical of the bona fides. And you're right, the experience piece, I think Ted Cruz kind of caught him on that a little bit during some of those debates, if I recall. So, yeah, I think that's a very, very keen insight from you as far as exactly like how Beto is, you know, particularly in a Democratic primary field where ideological purity, the litmus test is on, and it's been on in a very, although I mean, maybe it's kind of calmed down a little bit. And Kamala, people like Kamala and Corey and what's her name, Klobuchar, and others have kind of taken the brunt of that. So maybe it'll be a little bit easier for Beto.
Right, it could be easier for Beto, but he also kind of is in a weird space, as we've talked about many times before. Democrats have to face what kind of who's now the face of the party, right? You have all these new House members, various religions, ethnic backgrounds, what have you. But going forward, do you want another white man, and one with limited experience at that, to lead the country? Or the second question for Democrats would be, is he strong enough to beat Trump? So those two questions are kind of in conflict, I think, because who's going to really be the person to kind of be the umbrella for all these different groups for which the Democratic Party tries to appease, while also having the steam to switch Trump supporters come 2020. And it is going to be a challenge for the party as a whole, and I think we're really going to see who has the ability and the stamina and the wherewithal to actually be a good contender for Trump, because that, let's be honest, that's the main goal for Democrats, is to beat Trump in 2020. Right.
Let me ask you something else, too. I'm wondering, do we know Beto's appeal among black voters? And, well, I mean, we kind of have a sense of it as far as brown voters are concerned, because Texas has a massive Latino voting bloc. But what's his political track record like with the black electorate? Do we know?
Yeah, I have not looked into that, to be honest. However, I do know that Beto's marginal victory, and let's be honest, he only lost by, I think, less than 3 percentage points in his race. However, that support wasn't necessarily from, like, brown and black voters. Those were actually from progressive, young white millennials pushing him ahead. So he does have an appeal, especially to white males, who also were very instrumental in making sure he had the numbers that he had. So there's a whole other aspect that is probably tempting to Democratic operatives, and that, okay, you have this white man as well. You know, he's not too privileged. I mean, he is a millionaire technically. He has incredible charisma, and one would argue that charisma is missing among the current candidates that we have. Right. And he's able to appeal to young voters and across demographics and be inclusive, because that's kind of his thing. So you have the potential with Beto to essentially bring home some more white male voters, and not just the young ones, because in Texas, white men kind of show that there's a shift of some kind happening, whether that's ideologically or that could be based on district lines. But Beto is bringing with him the potential to get those white men on board, and those white men are what the Democrats have been trying to woo ever since Trump got elected.
Interesting. Talking with Letitia Beacham, politics reporter at the Center for Public Integrity. Real quick, Letitia, I want to go to Frank in West Philly, who's calling in for a reality check. Frank, what's good? Frank?
How's it going?
How's it going?
Yeah, these are some things I need you to kind of think about anyway, and not concentrate on, but at least think about. I had done some research last night, and the Democratic electorate makes up about 32% of the vote in the country. Republicans make up, these are figures I got, 24%. And the independents, now, it's not a lot of them, but they make up about 31%. And this is something that maybe you can think about and maybe do some research, because you got more areas that I can do. The independents, when Obama was running, he won the independents. Hillary Clinton lost the independents. Now, how does a white person lose independence and a black man win the independence?
Yeah, Frank, let me let it's an interesting question. Letitia, do you want to answer that, or you want to address that?
So the question is, how does a white woman lose the independent compared to a black man?
How does Hillary lose the independent vote and Obama wins the independent vote? It's very hard for a black man, a black woman,
to do that, to accomplish that.
Yeah,
it's a good question, Frank. No, go ahead, Letitia.
Yeah, no, I think that's an excellent question. But I think there are two completely different factors there, right? Obama was something completely new. He was something completely different, and he brought with him a lot of promise of what could be as far as the change that America could experience. With Hillary, he definitely represented the establishment, and that is something far from what Obama was to a lot of people, even though technically he kind of was. But Hillary was seen as stamped as part of the establishment. She was kind of marred by the legacy of her husband, and she was also dealing with sexism of whether she was likable enough. And she also had questionable records on some criminal justice reform issues in her past. So all of those are not enough to sway people independents who typically vote on a single issue to vote for Hillary. Like, there was nothing that was promising from her in the way that Obama was packaged to do. So I think that is, there are so many factors in that, but that is my immediate thought. Can
I respond?
Real quick, Frank.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Is it Beto, I'll pronounce his name.
Right, Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah, he reminds me of, kind of reminds me of how Obama started out. He's not going to take Texas. He's not going to take places like Mississippi, Alabama. That's Republicans. New York, California, places like that, Jersey will go Democratic. If the Democrats don't have a good plan on health care, which is number one issue in this country, the economy is number 3, and number 2, believe it or not, is climate control. The Democrats have to have the message for those independents. They don't care about impeachment. They want to know about those important issues.
Those important pillar issues. No, I agree with you, Mr. Frank. Ms. Frank, I gotta let you go, so I want to get Letitia on. Well, I got you for a few more minutes. A few more minutes, Letitia. So I know you did some reporting recently. We're kind of switching gears here just a little bit, but talking about political races and also fundraising. And I know you look at the world of political action committees very closely. You did some recent reporting on political action committees or political action committee activity for transgender candidates. We're starting to see a lot more transgender candidates, particularly on the state and federal level. So talk a little bit about that reporting.
Yeah, so I came across that after attending a transgender Day of Remembrance a few months back. And, you know, a lot of the issues kind of reminded me of things that I reported on in the past and issues that are topical, especially for marginalized communities, whether that's over-policing, healthcare access, education, etc. And so I came across Trans United Fund, which is the sole transgender not a super PAC, but PAC that exists, that is led by trans people, many whom are of color, and it's for recruiting and training transgender candidates. And they have been very influential and active on the state level, particularly in Minneapolis, where you have 2 black trans people who are part of their city council. You have a transgender man, Philippe Cunningham, and a transgender woman, Andrea Jenkins, who is running. However, their successes just have not been replicated on the federal level, and they've struggled a lot with compliance issues. They've struggled a lot with donors. And, you know, one of the main reasons why I wanted to look at this group is because I thought they told a story of how difficult it is for people to open up your wallets when you are not straight and when you are not white and when you are not a man. Like, what does this look like for you? And right now on the federal level, it looks like $0 being raised for this organization.
Well, interesting. Yeah, we'll talk some more about that. You know, I'm sure you'll be keeping a close eye on it. You know, particularly as we're seeing the entrance of more transgender candidates in these races, and actually some wins here and there as far as that particular demographic. So, you know, some very, you know, as the electorate continues to diversify more and more, that's going to be a big issue. That issue of diversity and inclusivity in 2020, major issues. And I know that's something that Letitia Beacham, that's why we bring you on as many Thursdays as we can here on Reality Check. She's politics reporter for the Center for Public Integrity. Go to @Letitia Beacham on Twitter, on social media, if you'd like to follow her there, see what she's up to, or go to publicintegrity.org to catch up with some of her reporting. Letitia, as always, it's a pleasure.
Yes, always a pleasure to speak with you, Charles. Talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon. Take care. All right, we're going to take a very quick break, and then when we come back on the other side is Reality Tech with Martin Pratt. That's coming up next. Phone lines remain open at 215-63. Martin Pratt doing a bit of co-hosting duty here anyway. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. And we're coming up on Reality Tech next, but also some open phone lines. 215, one more time, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. We'll be right back.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Tammy Souza.
Partly cloudy skies overnight and very mild conditions with temperatures in the upper 40s and low to mid 50s. For your Friday, filtered sunshine with some isolated showers throughout the day and the best chance of rain coming in late in the day and through the evening hours. We could also see an isolated thunderstorm. Temperatures will be in the 60s and 70s. The weekend ahead looks pleasant, generally in the 40s and 50s with plenty of sunshine. Remember, you can get the forecast anytime you like. Just download the free NBC 10 app.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
An accident cleared on 95 northbound. This report is sponsored by onbound.org. 95 northbound at Girard Avenue, still bumper to bumper. An accident cleared, but it's still backed up from the Walt Whitman Bridge. Northbound again delays Naaman's Road to the Commodore Barry Bridge. Southbound delays Cottman Avenue to Girard. The Schuylkill eastbound barely budging 202 to Belmont, the Boulevard to University. Westbound Bear Divine, and again Montgomery Drive to Belmont, and again Gladwin to Conshohocken. Westbound again at Gulf Mills, the off-ramp is partially blocked due to a disabled truck there. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org. For more traffic information, go to SigAlert.com. I'm Ann Evans with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Every day is a new adventure at the Please Touch Museum with our all-new exhibit, America to Zanzibar, Muslim Cultures Near and Far. In this multi-sensory exhibit, kids can use their imagination to explore, experience, and engage in a variety of fun interactions and experience everyday life through objects of Muslim American families. Designed for everyone, America to Zanzibar features experiences for all ages. Explore architecture, artifacts, artistry, and more in this groundbreaking new exhibit. Visit pleasetouchmuseum.org to purchase your tickets today.
The Kimmel Center offers free arts education programs to schools across the region. Teaching artists visit classrooms to educate, engage, and inspire the next generation using creative learning experiences, and schools take trips to the Kimmel Center for live performances. The Kimmel Center is committed to educating Philadelphia's youth by providing access to quality arts. For more information, visit kimmelcenter.org. Listen live at wordradio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Level up. Hey, ladies, in celebration of Women's History Month, we're proud to announce an exciting contest to recognize young black women leaders between the ages of 18 and 35 in Philly, Chicago, and Los Angeles who are doing great things to empower their communities.
It's called Level Up. Level Up. A celebration of women who got next. Presented by the Independent Black Media Consortium, an exciting new partnership between 3 black-owned radio stations, WURD Radio in Philly, WVON in Chicago, and KJLH in Los Angeles. This is your opportunity to recognize the hard work and dedication of the next generation of black women leaders making a difference in our communities.
Nominees must simply be a young black woman between the ages of 18 and 35 in Philly, Chicago, or LA who is making a difference in her community.
To nominate a woman who's got next, visit WURDradio.com, WVON.com, or KJLHradio.com.
Ladies, it's time to level up.
Hello, I am Joel Wilson, and I founded TechCore 2 5 years ago with the mission to develop a technology pipeline program for urban youth from kindergarten to college to career entry. Starting March 30th, we have an 8-Saturday program with 9 different 90-minute classes and 3 different start times. Please register your young person at spring2019.techcore2.org or call 215-879-6701 so they are not left behind in this digital revolution.
Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and WordRadio.com.
Yeah, we're back here at Reality Check. It's the Thursday end of the week edition here on the home of Black Talk Media, Word Radio, WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Yep.
That's what we're here for.
Oh, it's also Word TV as well.
Right, on Facebook.
On Facebook, and killing it on Facebook. And Facebook.com.
And if you want to see your tweets on Word TV, you can actually tweet on Word, and as long as something, you know, clean,
right,
something that's significant.
Keep it clean.
And I think the last topic we talked about, one of the maybe controversial topic, was whether or not charter schools are good for regular teachers. We had a caller that said absolutely positively not.
Right.
And I think it was Tim. And Tim, if you're still listening, Mark actually tweeted back to us. And so we're going to tweet out Mark's tweet, which is an article from the Foundation for Economic Education about school choice and why school choice and competition is actually good for union teachers. And so, you know, I didn't have a chance to really dig into this article, but I do know that as Tim did bring up, you know, you got to look behind. And I saw something that says this is from the Cato Institute, so that's a red flag for me personally. It may not be a red flag for some people, but that's a it's a red flag for me.
Right.
So I hear what you're saying, Tim. I'm looking behind.
Right.
I'm not just you know. But the whole point is that Twitter, our tweet. If you tweet to us right now, which is onWURD, we will retweet your tweet. And that will appear on Word TV, which is on live on YouTube and live on Facebook.
Yeah, this is something
froze like Facebook froze yesterday, quote unquote. We gotta get into that. The whole Facebook freezing.
That too. And real quick too, to your point, that was Corey DeAngelis out of Cato Institute who wrote that school choices about. And it was recent, January 2019.
February,
right. Journal of Public Economics.
Thanks, Mark.
And it was he was citing a study. It published in the Journal of Public Economics, and quoting here, finds that charter school competition increases teacher salaries by about 3.4% in difficult to staff public schools.
So 3%, you know, it's kind of like, you know, yeah, okay.
Right.
But then also something else can increase. You know, it could be if Amazon opens a store, you know, one of the cashless stores near a hood school. That could increase salaries.
Right.
Because now people want to buy homes in that area because you got the Amazon new store next to this low salary wage school.
Right.
And now because of that, that particular specific one school has now decided that they need to hire teachers and they need to increase, you know, the salary of their teachers because there's, you know, so I mean, that's 3% is not a lot.
Nah.
I mean, to me, honestly, we should have a law that says, you know, if you don't increase my salary by 10%, don't give me a salary increase.
Don't give me a salary increase,
I mean, what can you do with 3%?
Can't really do a whole lot with 3%, particularly when they and especially when the cost of things, the cost of everything continues to rise, or there's just more things that you have to buy. And we've talked about that too, like that quality of life, that standard of living thing. Like you got to buy more stuff. You have to use your money for more stuff now than you did just 30 years ago. Remember, there's a whole bunch of stuff we have now that we didn't have. We didn't have to buy a lot of this stuff that we have.
No.
There's another word I want to use, but I can't say it on air because that's how I feel about it, right? Another S word.
I went to look at some detergent at CVS. I mean, this is definitely not about tech, so I'm gonna get to tech in 1 second.
Yeah, just 1 second. Yeah.
But there was has a detergent that's natural and dye free. Now I can get that at Fresh Grocer, ShopRite. Shout out to Jeff Brown at ShopRite.
Yeah.
I can get it at Brown ShopRite for $2.99. CVS was charging $6.75 for that. I was like, when did you know? I'm not talking about the super gigantic, you know.
Right.
You know, so it's like you have to have a Prime membership. You have to have a BJ's Club.
Yeah.
You have to be able to go to Walmart or or Brown ShopRite. You can't go to your local CVS or Walgreens, any of these little stores, and kind of just run in and grab something.
No.
You run in and grab something, they grab your wallet.
Oh yeah, they do. Right.
they grab back. You know.
Right.
It's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But
CVS, we grab back.
Yeah. Right. Especially if it's near to our earlier point about the store. That's right near University.
Was that Whole Paycheck?
Yeah. Well, no, I was gonna. No, it's not near Whole Paycheck, but it's right near University.
Whole Foods, a Whole Paycheck.
It's right near University City and right near, I want to say, Penn. It's right near Penn.
Yeah.
So they juiced it up. For the Penn
right.
I like to see them see
do
that
a study
at
on that.
The market.
Right. The stratification of CVS stores. Right.
Near Penn.
Right.
And
people be onto that game too, because you know like the way they price things. You know, it's based on the neighborhood and based on the demographic of the neighborhood.
That's just what he's saying in the article. You know, when you put a charter school, property taxes doesn't go up. No, but you're saying 3%.
That's what he's saying.
You know, it's like. But getting back to tech and what happened with the outage yesterday.
Right.
You know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
It's the Facebook outage.
Although my mom,
I know some people were
was raised
in a frenzy
movement, so
over Facebook going out.
Yeah, well, something else happened today. Announcement was made that Facebook's head of product is leaving. Now, this is somebody who's Chris Cox. He's been here 13 years.
Right.
People said if Mark Zuckerberg left today, or really yesterday, Chris would be taking over. Chris was in line to be he wasn't number 2, but he was running in line to be number 1.
Wow.
He has been running for the last 13 years new employee seminars, and people love him in the company.
Okay.
His statement that he made about leaving was really interesting. His statement was that I've been sharing the same message that Mark and I have always believed. Social media history is not yet written, and its effects are not neutral. It's tied up in the richness and complexity of our social life. As builders, we must endeavor to understand its impact, all the good and all the bad, and take up the daily work of bending it towards positive and towards the good. That is our responsibility. But his statement that he also said at the end of the statement was basically about the leaders of the company have to be excited for the new direction that Facebook is going into. And he says it's going to be a big project. What is he talking about? Facebook's desire, according to Mark Zuckerberg last week, to go to privacy.
Right.
And so that
they want to encrypt their Facebook space. Right.
Which would mean that theoretically, if someone is trolling you, if someone comes to Word's page and just start, and we've had them somewhat, come to our page and leave these horrible racist messages.
Right.
Well, they're encrypted. So we don't have to worry about your, hey, you can just delete them. Don't worry about them because it's privacy and it's encrypted. And so, so, but that also takes the responsibility away from Facebook having to do. And this is the project that Chris Cox has been working on for the last 2 years, is trying to blend Facebook in an open, transparent way towards better conversation. What Mark's idea is, hey, just encrypt everything. You don't have to worry about it. And I think my personal thing is that it was a test yesterday of encryption. They tried to move everything over to the WhatsApp platform of encrypting just to see what would happen, and it crashed. And that's my personal belief. I have no proof. I have nothing, but I just think it was a beta test, and that miserably failed.
And then he got canned.
Well, no, he left. I think that he's seeing that he can't stop the juggernaut.
Right.
And this is from the Wired magazine. So Wired does talk to a source, anonymous source within the company, and that anonymous source in the company says that they also believe that Chris is leaving because of the direction that the company is going into, which is not as one he agrees with.
It's pretty profound when you have the head or the leadership of a social media company, including a white male leader of a social media company, saying that social media, we have to recalibrate social media in such a way that, so what were the words he used? That go towards a good.
It needs to mirror, and that's the whole point.
To contribute to the common good, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't been hearing digital leaders or tech leaders or social media leaders saying, hey, we need to use this, or we need to ensure that this is being used towards the common good.
Yeah, it's the whole Russell Simmons argument that hip hop is only talking about what real life is dealing. So if there's bad in hip hop, well, that's because it's real life. And their argument has been the same argument. Well, if there's bad on social media, well, it's only bad because it's bad in real life. And it's the experience, you know, in both situations.
That's intellectual laziness, really. When we let like Russell Simmons off the hook or let anyone off the hook. That is, it's intellectual laziness.
Because what happens is that
it's
in
product
real life,
laziness too.
In real life, you know, most black folks knew not to walk near Port Richmond.
Right.
Because if they did, they knew there was a gang of other people who were going to come at them.
Right.
And so you stayed away from Port Richmond. And Port Richmond walked through your neighborhood, you know, do what you know.
Do what you gotta do. Right.
But see, on social media, the gang in Port Richmond is on almost every platform if there's a woman and she speaks out. Or if there's a black person that says Black Lives Matter. Now you got 25 to 50 trolls coming at you talking about MAGA and talking about, you know, and then having all these links. And then they're trying to dox you. You know, they're trying to find your address.
Right.
And if you geotagged yourself in a regular location, some idiot is trying to figure out that geotag of that regular location. And then they're going to send a SWAT team saying you got a gun, which has been done 2 or 3 times on social media. This is not real life. Real life, that doesn't happen. I mean, you know, I'm not saying there's not cases that hasn't happened in the past, or something crazy like that. But I'm saying with social media in particular, there are built-in tools that allow the person, the regular individual who, according to, you know, the American Constitution, has a right to freedom of speech, has a right to life and liberty, and not a right to be threatened because of their personal viewpoint, and for the police force to be used as an executioner through geotagging and finding your location.
See, this is why, you know, and that goes back to that. In fact, later on next month, actually, there's supposed to be a group of us, and this has been precipitated by a conversation we've had here on Reality Check about the abuse of 911. I know this kind of goes off on just a little bit of a tangent, but you know, this is why, like, but there's been that there's a name for it, you know, calling SWAT teams like that falsely. I forget the name. Swatting, yeah, you know, the SWAT, but you know, this is why, you know, and there've been just as many white victims of swatting as there have been black victims of swatting, and like, you know, that's why and there have been pieces of legislation introduced in several legislatures as a result of throughout the country as a result of conversations directly here on Reality Check, and they haven't passed yet because people are looking at it through a totally racial lens. Well, that's for them black folks, that's for them Negroes, like. We don't need, but no, you need that too, like because you know, because of the environment that we're all in, it's so toxic, it's so polarized. You know, these sorts of mechanisms, these sorts of tools, they can be used against you.
Exactly. And when someone's just for family member dies because half of the police force, half of the, you know, in Atlanta, we'll say, is a smaller police force.
That's one.
And if someone calls, you know, and says this Black Lives rally is a bunch of drug dealers and whatever, and they send half of the downtown police force over there, and someone's parents die because there was no one on the other side of town. You know, it affects you. I mean, I think, you know, I think tomorrow morning the person from the Poor People's Campaign in the Philadelphia chapter will be on Wake Up with Word, and shout out to Wake Up with Word staff. So tune into that. But the Poor People's Campaign has successfully been able to show white folks, particularly, why it's all our problem. And I think that's going to be that type of solution, where, you know, Moral Monday. What's the moral? And I think Dr. Aaron has talked about this in the past, and then I think you talked about also the word humanity. So we got to use these catchphrases that actually touch the soul, which is moral. You know, what's the morality of this situation that's happening? It's amoral, it's immoral, you know, and then it's inhumane. Where is your humanity when you see the recent case I read about was in Denver, was in Colorado, where I'm headed to. It was a guy, he was on his patio sweeping up the leaves, and a cop felt he shouldn't be on that patio. And, you know, I mean, like, he was arrested for being on his patio,
on his own patio,
like like he wasn't. You know, like Skip Gates was on, you know, he was on the porch. This dude was in his patio. So you got to climb over the patio to get, you know, like, you on your patio.
That's crazy.
Oh, you black. You're not supposed to be on the patio.
Right.
You know, so where's the humanity in that?
It's right.
And I think
it's
lot
the
of times,
reinvention of Jim Crow.
Right, and I think a lot of times we've gone away from community policing.
Right.
You know, and I think that it's time for police officers to come and step up to the plate and start talking about the communities that they're responsible for policing. And stand, like a lot of cops back in the day was like, no, I know that kid because I seen his parents, they come to every meeting, Right. You can't say that today. The cops can't say they know anybody today. And I mean, I say every cop. I'm not saying that because you interviewed a good cop in the summer. We were that cop at the event we had in the summer.
Oh, Barsham Bardens, right?
And he was going into it. He was talking about where he was from in Philly,
right?
What he does and what doesn't do,
right?
You know, and you said, I think can we copy you? Can we mirror you throughout the whole police force?
Need to replicate that,
right? Because he was a community police from South Philly,
right?
And he was a white guy from South Philly.
Yeah, he was a white guy, grew up South, and he acknowledged that too. Do we feel like, speaking of humanity component, right? Do we feel like social media? That's the core problem with social media. It dehumanizes, and the reason I ask that is
it turns up the volume of your inhumane tendencies. I would say that it makes it very easy and simple within a matter of a few seconds to either say something horrible and hide behind the anonymity, or go after somebody who didn't say something that you agree with.
It's like war. Right? It's like that's what soldiers do during war. Like when you're in a battlefield situation, you come up with all sorts of terms, bigoted, racist terms on the battlefield to immediately dehumanize the enemy, so you can feel comfortable with, first of all, you want to either like I kill someone or I get killed. So you're in that kind of situation. You're in a kind of like, to each his own situation. You're in a survival mode, right?
Right.
And then you're like, okay, so I can process and rationalize why I have to kill this other human being. I'm going to call them, like in the Vietnam War, they called the North Vietnamese soldiers, or the Viet Cong, they called them gooks, right? And so, or in World War II, they were calling them the Japs and the Jerrys, right? Just give them a nickname, and so it's the same thing with so it's sort of some of the same fundamentals or dynamics as with social media that we're seeing right now.
Exactly.
That high toxicity.
And I think that all these software products for a number of years have never had at home kind of seminars on how to use them. They just put a software product out, and like somebody says right now, it's the most average person on the street, hey, are you on Slack? And people would say, what? What's Slack?
What's Slack, right?
And that Slack hasn't done, and it's not just Slack, I'm saying any product that's come out in the last 10 or 15 years from software companies, that has never, except for maybe Microsoft Windows, somewhat, did a national campaign where they had workshops that explained to you how you are supposed to use this product.
Yeah.
And so, and had... We don't have, like, when you put out a car and it's a new type of car, there's safety regulations. There's software, and I think Elizabeth Warren is actually on to something of regulating these companies, because I said this when Microsoft
hold that thought. I want to talk to you about that too. That's a good segue, because we actually got to go to break. Phone lines are open too. If you'd like to join in on the conversations, a very relevant one, 215-634-8065, also 866-361-0900. We'll be right back. I got Martin Pratt here. He is co-hosting today here on Reality Check. We just had our Reality Tech segment. We're going to have a little bit more of it after the break, but just open phone lines at 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Also, don't forget to go to @Ellison Report, #Reality Check for more of that digital conversation as well. You can chime in there. And we are going to take a very quick break. We'll be right back.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Tammy Souza.
Partly cloudy skies overnight and very mild conditions with temperatures in the upper 40s and low to mid 50s. For your Friday, filtered sunshine with some isolated showers throughout the day, and the best chance of rain coming in late in the day and through the evening hours. We could also see an isolated thunderstorm. Temperatures will be in the 60s and 70s. The weekend ahead looks pleasant, generally in the 40s and 50s with plenty of sunshine. Remember, you can get the forecast anytime you like. Just download the free NBC 10 app.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
In Gloucester Township, Shoes Landing Road is shut down between the Black Horse Pike and Laurel Road due to a serious accident. And this report is sponsored by the Ad Council. 95 northbound barely budging the Walter Bridge to Bridge Street, southbound Cottman to Girard, Ridley Park to the Commodore Barry Bridge. A crash on the Blue Route northbound between the Mid-County Toll Plaza and the PA Turnpike. It's jammed from the Schuylkill-Conshohocken exit. The Blue Route northbound or further northbound delays 95 to past McDade. Southbound delays Conshohocken to meet us Swarthmore. The Schuylkill eastbound barely moving the Blue Route to Belmont Avenue, the Boulevard through University, westbound Fair Divine, Montgomery Drive to Belmont, and again Gladwin to Conshohocken. Nobody likes an awkward silence, but sometimes it can be a good thing. Use an awkward silence to ask your friend about their mental health. It can really help. Find out how at seizetheawkward.org. For more traffic information, go to sigalert.com. I'm Ann Evans with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Don't miss the Electric Magazine Show, hosted by Cody Anderson and Vicki Leach. Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Remember in the beginning, when you first started to build a life for you and your family, you never imagined it would come to this. Instead of living your dreams, you're living with debt. In fact, it's smothering you. Now there's a way you can take back control with one simple call. If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you qualify to receive a free, no-obligation consultation on how to get rid of that debt for good. Call the Debt Helpline now. We work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. One simple call is all it takes to get the ball rolling to a debt-free life. Stop living with debt and start living your dreams. Call the Debt Helpline now.
800-648-9172. 800-648-9172. 800-648-9172. That's 800-648-9172.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
The Sweet Treat Hut is the highest rated juice bar in Philly, located on the corner of 50th and Thompson Streets, providing delicious, healthy vegan food, juices, and smoothies. Treat yourself to a cup of happiness. Call 215-877-1471.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
Yeah, we're back here at Reality Check. Phone lines are open at 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Martin Pratt here in the studio. Phone lines are open. Let's go real quick, Martin. Let me go to AC in West Philly, who was calling for a Reality Check. AC, how are you doing?
Hey, Brother Charles. I hope you can hear me because I can hear you kind of faintly on my phone.
I can hear you clearly, brother. All right, thank you.
Okay, I hope your vacation was fine. I sent you about 4 shipments of books in and around February before you went on vacation.
I got those.
Receive them?
Yes, I did. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
I hope you find them to be interesting and you can share some.
I will.
Black History Month next week. It was about 14 or 15 books.
I promise to extend that, too. I know I fell off a little bit on that last month, but Black History Month, this is Black History Year. So we're going to continue that hashtag Black History reading list with black words, right? Yeah. Black words, WURDS, little clever mix of tongue there. But yeah, absolutely, I appreciate those books. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Especially that Civil Rights Chronicles. If I had to pick one out, that's one of my favorites that I start people with.
I checked. I peeped that. Thank you. Yeah.
What I'll tell you about is besides that is. You were talking a couple days ago about being a magistrate. And in Pennsylvania, to be a magistrate or district justice, you do not need to be a lawyer. However, you do need to win an election. To be eligible for election, a candidate must be a citizen of the Commonwealth and live in that district for a year and be of least 21 years of age. So that's all you have to do. And then after winning an election, take a certification course that's about a month. And the next one is June the 3rd in Harrisburg. They used to have it in Chambersburg.
The next certification lesson?
Yeah, the next certification class is in, I'm looking at it right now, is from June the 3rd to June the 28th.
Magistrate.
And that's all you have to do.
Certification class in Harrisburg.
It's in Harrisburg. They used to hold it in Chambersburg.
Interesting.
It's a short application. I'm telling you, that application is a half a page long.
Wow, yeah, I see it here.
Name, address, email, telephone, date of birth, the last 4 of your Social Security number, if you're taking the new certification, and if you're going to be a magistrate or district justice or Philadelphia arraignment court magistrate.
What about the arraignment magistrates? Are they also elected as well, or are they picked?
I think they are elected. I'm not sure. They used to be appointed. And remember, traffic court, before they stopped that, most of the people down there weren't lawyers. People thought they were, but they weren't lawyers. They used to take this course.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not against folks who didn't go to law school being in those sorts of, I guess we would call them extrajudicial positions. Yeah. But the training and the intellectual development, like, that has to be ongoing. It can't just be like a 1 month, one and done thing. Like, that has to be an ongoing thing. I mean, they should be, like, constantly studying, and there should be constant. This is something I appreciate you raising this, AC, and I had raised it the other day, and this is something I want to dig into a little bit more, and I'm going to write about it in the Philadelphia Citizen, because we need to ask questions about that, because it's like, who are these people? We're talking about, we want to do criminal justice reform, but, well, it's people. Once again, going back to the human face of things, right? There are people that are running these systems. So where do these people come from? How are they hired? Who supervises them? Who oversees? And no one's really asking that question. And I find that very I find that very interesting. I find that also very suspect. But I want to dig further into that. Like, I want to learn more. Thank you so much. I'm on that page too.
You have to take continuing legal educational courses after you get elected. But people don't really believe this. You don't have to be a lawyer if you read the Constitution to be on the Supreme Court.
Yes, yes, exactly.
That tells you,
Right.
But one other thing I wanted to tell you, I always get this interesting conversation about Pittsburgh, and I'm going to get the information to send to you so you can dig it up. But Pittsburgh as a city brings in more income as a city, not the surrounding suburbs, gross receipts than Philadelphia. So, I hear about people talking about the smaller city in Pittsburgh, and also just some interesting things. The per capita income in Pittsburgh is $65,000 versus about the low 50s to Philadelphia. And the SAT scores were 1,200 versus 900 or in Philly.
And and just to jump in there, bro, that's why all the tech companies have labeled Pittsburgh as the hot tech hub. So all the tech companies have.
Carnegie Mellon is ahead in AI.
Right.
That's right.
Transplants and everything. The University of Pittsburgh was a forebearer. In sports, we don't even have to talk about the championships.
Right.
It's just, and it's a small city, but everybody always looks at it as a city of the second class. But nothing could be further from the truth.
And so there's a model in Philly. Even if we just said North Philly and South Philly, in the black neighborhoods, we need to get tech. If we get our kids in, they're already on gaming. Our kids are already playing these games. Now they just need to know how to design them. And now we just need to.
Philadelphia has a gaming team.
Yeah.
I mean, the new gaming. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that. Like, I bet you people don't even really realize that Philadelphia has an actual professional gaming sports team.
Well, and
the Philadelphia Fusion.
That's right. I hope y'all can look this up. I saw something, but I had trouble finding it in between calling you. But sometime this week, as of, let's say, March the 10th or 11th, Philadelphia had more shootings than any other city in the country, including Chicago.
Yeah, it is definitely, we are definitely going.
So from January 1 till March the 10th or 11th, it had more shootings. It's phenomenal, man. The things we're going through. I mean, just on that alone, the mayor should have to answer some questions to the electorate. Just on that, forget education, forget everything else for a minute. Just for the violence under his tenureship. And everybody's letting him get away because he put up a statue and did some other things. You know, so I don't know, man. I guess it's what we want. We deserve what we elect.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you had a chance to ask the mayor a question about the increase in violence, what would that question be?
That would be, what is he going to do and how is he going to do it? And give me a plan. I want a plan that should look like the old Yellow Pages.
Yeah, right.
All of his captains should have.
What's the plan for getting community buy-in, and how do you get community folks? How do you get the grassroots more involved in it?
Yeah, but still, we got to remember this, brother Charles. I always try to tell people this: when I take my child to school for those 8 hours, it's a certain amount of knowledge he should come out with, whether I'm an electrician or a grave digger. That's why I send them to school. So I hire the police and give them everything they say they need to keep us safe.
Gotcha.
You're responsible for that. Now, whether you can do it or not, somebody has to be responsible. And just on that alone, we need somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't just say, okay, he gave us the soda tax. You're taxing poor people. You're taxing poor people to get a quality pre-K and kindergarten. Just think about that. And it's still not high quality yet.
Right.
And people have had this, even in Camden, New Jersey, and places, have had that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
All-day preschool and kindergarten at a high quality.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
When you start really digging into it, it is kind of like it's a hustle.
Yeah.
Not a little. It's a lot of hustle.
It's a lot of hustle. Yeah.
We're known for meds and ed.
Yeah.
Yet we don't even have a high school that's dedicated to meds and ed.
No, we don't.
I sent both a model too.
And the other thing too, speaking on that too, AC, like you have a mayor who's been an epic failure at putting pressure on those world-class research institutions and academic institutions in this city to create institutions like that or support institutions like that. They're not even paying like taxes to the city for being here, for being based here.
That's right.
For a long time, whether it's Penn or Drexel or Temple or whomever, but they could at least like, okay, hey, say like what you just said, hey, we could do a Eds and Meds high school.
Exactly.
Okay, hey, we as
in the hospitals would lease you the space until you could build your own school because they need the students who might, even if it's half, that would go into it. They need it.
Then it's just the lack.
I shared it with the superintendent Height. I shared the model that's working for more than 20 years with Darrell Clark. Neither one of them ever got back.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get that lack of imagination.
I'll give you the model. I'll give you the curriculum.
Yeah.
Wow. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that lack of imagination and that lack of willingness to put pressure on those key institutions here, here in the city, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And we have to have those conversations, and it's it's not, to me, these aren't radical ideas.
No,
I mean, like they are. They're not. It's nothing revolutionary about it. It's just like, well, hey, Drexel, Temple, Penn, they're right across the street. Like,
exactly.
What can you do for me? Like,
all of them should have a meds and eds high school starting from the 9th grade and build it up.
See, that's the conversation.
People would line up to put their children.
And AC, I'm going to say this. That's the conversation we need to have when we're putting pressure on. People talking about, oh, Temple, don't build that football stadium. You need to be like, Temple, how come you ain't building or supporting any kind of like major kind of pipeline institution like an ed med school? That's the conversation you folks need to be having.
Children's, all of them.
Right.
We could have one strategically in each part of the city.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's not hard to do because
I think
dollars per student from the Philadelphia school system would pay for the seats.
Right.
They're not giving away. I'm telling you, I have the curriculum, brother. I'm going to share it with you.
It shouldn't just be. It shouldn't.
20 years.
Send it to cellison@wordradio.com.
I sure will, sir.
C. Ellison.
I'll send you a copy on the what do you call it, on the attachment, and I'll send you a hard copy.
Please, yeah. C. Ellison@wrdradio.com.
I have your stuff.
AC, listen, I gotta let you go. This is fascinating.
It's always a pleasure, and I'm glad you got those books, and please share them.
All right, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Take care. Thanks for that conversation. He got me going, but we have to take a break, and we had to go. We can talk more about it after this segment. We got Fred Beasley from Bartenders coming up, talking about Meatless Mondays as a new concept in New York City that they just instituted. And actually, New York City public schools, no meat on Mondays.
Right.
They've instituted, and so we're looking at models in other cities, that cities like Philadelphia could toy with or replicate. So we're going to talk, and that's an Eco Words, a special Thursday Eco Words segment with Fred Beasley that's coming up next here on Reality Check 96.1 FM 900 AM, wordradio.com, also by Word app. Let's just stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Shamari Show. Fridays 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. on Word Radio. And streaming live on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app. The Kimmel Center presents the Monterey Jazz Festival, on tour for one night only, Saturday, March 23rd. Celebrating its 60th anniversary, the Monterey Jazz Festival is one of the longest-running jazz festivals in the world. The tour, now in its 5th year, features a top roster of diverse Grammy Award-winning young talent and the leaders of jazz's future, including Cecile McLaurin-Salvant and Christian Sands. Saturday, March 23rd. Tickets at kimmelcenter.org.
Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church is sponsoring a free health, wellness, and job fair for men only in the community to learn their individual health status. Join Enon on March 16th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church, 2800 Cheltenham Avenue. Pre-registration is required. This event will be conducted in a male-oriented atmosphere. For more information, visit enontab.org. Enon, a place where people encounter God.
This is Ronald Clark with the Moravia Health Tip. The bond between a patient and their caregiver is very important. Empathy and kindness are crucial to having a trusting relationship with your loved one. When selecting a home care aide to help with your daily tasks, such as cooking, cleaning, and companionship, inquire as to why the candidate chose caregiving as a profession. The right caregiver will have a good mixture of professionalism and a loving and caring nature. Many families are not aware, but they are able to hire a family member or a friend as their paid home care aide. With training through Moravia Health, caring for your loved one just got easier. Moravia Health is dedicated to delivering quality care to patients in the comfort of their home. For more information about Moravia Health, call 215-717-8650. That's 215-717-8650. Or visit MoraviaHealth.com. Moravia Health, because there's no place like home.
Calling all women business owners. Word has a special offer for you. Grow your business while supporting independent Black Talk media. In celebration of Women's History Month, Word has an exclusive Forward Business membership offer just for you. Join or renew your Forward Business membership now through the end of March, and you will receive an exclusive bonus to market your business on the Word media platforms. Sign up or renew today. Call 215-425-7875.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
I'm like, we on fire in here. Like I'm like, AC got. Yeah, we gonna have to talk about this after the segment. AC's got me on fire in here. Like all three of us on fire. Right. We're gonna talk a little. We'll disclose some of that conversation. You probably saw me on Word TV. Like I was like, like in those martial arts films. Like. Like I was slamming my hand on the table. I almost broke the board. Like what? Like man. But anyway, Fred Beasley is founder. He's also president and CEO of Bartenders.
Well, he's a co-founder of Bartenders.
Co-founder of Bartenders,
and he is president of the New York chapter of Hip Hop is Green.
Hip Hop is Green. Hip Hop is Green. And Fred Beasley, he's based in New York City. And he's going to talk about a new concept that's being instituted in New York City public schools called Meatless Mondays. And this is for public school lunches. And New York Mayor Bill de Blasio just recently announced that all New York public schools will have meatless Mondays starting in the 2019-2020 school year. There's been a whole lot of conversation around this, some controversy, but also a lot of good positive reviews from folks who are like, yeah, kids need to eat less meat. So Fred Beasley is joining us now. Fred, how are you doing? Thanks for your patience.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
All right, excellent. Tell us about Meatless Mondays. Who came up with the concept? Why is it so important? Why is it so crucial to have Meatless Mondays, and how is this going to work?
Great question. In the New York City area, the Meatless Mondays campaign was basically spearheaded by Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. Mm-hmm. And Eric Adams, what makes him so special in regards to this whole campaign is that he's somebody who actually turned his entire life around from having type 2 diabetes, actually being blind in one eye, facing the amputation of his limbs, and he realized that once he changed his diet, these ailments, not only did they reverse, but they completely were eliminated. And when he realized that, he said, "This is something that we have to implement amongst our school children in New York City." So we have 1.2 million school children in New York City public schools, and meat or fried meat, such as hamburgers, hot dogs, and things like that, have been labeled as a type 1 carcinogenic, on the same level as smoking a cigarette. So Eric said very, very bluntly and very eloquently that if we don't wake up in the morning and give our kids packs of cigarettes to smoke, then why would we give them sausages and bacon and hamburgers? You know, so it's a very, very cutting-edge concept, but it's backed by the science. And what we found is that after piloting this program over the last year or so, we've seen that the response from the youth just has been phenomenal.
Wow!
I mean, they're actually looking for a difference in a food taste, in their palate, because what you find is a lot of times they call mystery meat. They don't even know what the meat is.
Yeah, you don't know what's in that. Yeah, that's been like that for a while.
So the kids, yeah, exactly. So it's been like that since we were coming up. So the kids are saying we actually want to get on board with eating more fruits and vegetables. And we've also found that when kids do eat more fruits and vegetables, and here's the kicker, the test scores start to go up. You know what I mean? We start to find kids who, for lack of better words, become less combative. That means violence starts to decrease.
Right.
And all these things, because essentially when kids come in, especially in the New York City area, and I know in Philly as well, we're overrun with a lot of bodegas. So kids are coming to school eating things from these bodegas, and they're basically coming in hyped up off of sugar. And studies have found that sugar affects the brain with the same type of potency as crack cocaine.
Right. These are poisons.
Yes.
That's right.
I need to just take this cut. These are poison. Yes.
That's right.
Let me just play that again.
It's poison.
This is poison. Yes.
And I think that's significant that you have the mayor of a major city of a city that's packed with nearly 9 million people that's acknowledging that.
And let's go back to Brooklyn. I hear what you're saying, Charles, about the mayor of New York City, you know, who's now under investigation for his wife spending $900 million to nothing. So let's just let's put the mayor to the side, because I don't want our calls calling up. So I talk about the mayor.
Right.
But what I want to talk about is the fact that that a borough president who was half blind and also had type 2 diabetes, and because my wife has diabetes, I'm cooking a lot more, and I'm watching everything that she takes in.
Right.
And I have never read so many labels before. So I'm totally with where Eric Adams is the borough president with. But Fred, can you talk about also the hospitals, what he instituted and what you guys are working with when it comes to the hospital recovery menu?
That's a great question, Martin. We've also implemented a program at Bellevue Hospital, which is I think it's the first of its kind, where patients who have type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol, they won't be given certain medications. They'll have their so-called illness attacked from a nutrition perspective. So what we found is that when you take away a lot of these meats, because the meats have, and it's crazy how you can look at certain films from What the Health to Forks Over Knives just to get an idea of some of the vast amounts of hormones that they're pumping into these animals.
Yeah.
And when these hormones go into our body, these hormones wreak havoc. And these hormones become the basis of many diseases. And one of my favorite quotes that Eric Adams says is that it's not your birthright, it's your breakfast. It's not your lineage, it's your lunch. It's not your DNA, it's your dinner. And what happens is that many times when people go to the hospital for diabetes and high blood pressure, when they're actually recovering, people actually giving them a lot of meat. They're giving them chicken. They're giving them dairy. They're giving them a lot of sweets right there on the hospital menu.
Right.
So with this very progressive forward thinking, Eric and we have combined with Bellevue Hospital.
Which is 11 hospitals, by the way. That's 11 hospitals.
11 hospitals.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's huge.
This is very, very cutting edge.
11 hospitals in New York. In New York, okay.
New York City, yes. And have combined with them to make nutrition the focus of
recovery.
Health and wellness. Not only recovery, but elimination. So people have found that, again, that just by changing their diet, these diseases have been eliminated. And it's just like point blank, and it's very, very, very cutting edge.
Let me ask you, Fred, how have you been able to persuade institutions like that hospital network, like Bellevue Hospitals, for example? Because, you know, it's like I was having a conversation yesterday with the Dr. Nicole Alexander Scott. She's someone you probably want to talk to. She's the head of the Rhode Island Department of Health. She's from Brooklyn, but she's also now the new president of the Association of State and Territorial Health organizations or health directors. And so the point she was making is that, like, in this country, we spend 75% of our resources on the health care system, but we only spend about 25% on preventative care, right? On preventing those ailments that you talk about. In normal advanced economies that are comparable to us, it's a 50-50 ratio, like 50 on the healthcare system, but 50 on like the prevention, which is the way it's supposed to be, right? So how do you create, or how do you formulate the business case for institutions like that? How do you show them? Because that kind of defies their business model a bit, doesn't it? You know, because they want more sick people to come in so that they can make more money. So how does them suddenly switching to a nutrition perspective suddenly help their bottom line? How does that augment their bottom line? What's the business case?
That's a great question. But I think when you look historically at Bellevue Hospital itself, there's always been a hospital in the New York City area that has been very cutting edge. And what's happening is that the hospital system is becoming overburdened. And because of this recycling of patients, people are now, especially, and that's what makes New York City so
ground zero.
Yes, because people are saying, listen, we just don't want to be in a cycle of sickness.
Right.
To Brooklyn Borough President and Bellevue Hospitals.
And he got on other borough presidents too, right? He got on the state senators. He got a bunch of people on the board.
All these people are kicking in, but to their credit, I think that it has been because of such certain films and because it's the overwhelming data. They said, you know what, we want to give this a try, and because people are actually clamoring for a change. People are tired of seeing that their loved one fall victim to things that they now know. Again, because of so much data, because of these Netflix movies and these things coming out, people are saying, well, hey, this movie said, and that's a big thing. They're saying, we've seen that diseases can be turned around if we change our diet.
Right.
Books like the China Study, people like Dr. Sabi, people like Tina Fua, these are people who have been very big in the New York City area, and now they're starting to these ideas are starting to coincide with conventional medicine. And again, it's just to the credit of the Bellevue officials that they say, hey, you know what? It is time to make a change. Let's start this pilot program. So the hard numbers are there, and people are starting to say we have to, instead of becoming a sick care system, we have to switch over to being a health care system.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think also when you look at, it's 40, according to their website, it's 42,000 employees. So the employees eat lunch there also. So those are union employees.
Right.
so if they had a, the what's it called, 3-bean chili day, the meat sauce without the garden meat and sauce with spaghetti, all these different menus. They're not just feeding. This hospital system serves 1 million New Yorkers in 70 locations. I thought it was just 11 hospitals, but they have 70 patient care locations. So when you talk about that type of system, the weight of any kind of outbreak or any kind of flu or any kind, the system starts to be real heavy. So if they can get the patient in and out quicker, then they actually can make more money theoretically because they can handle double that. Instead of 1 million, they can handle 2 million.
Right.
With the same amount of workforce, and because they have a clean, clear bill of health when it comes to food and it comes to the dietary requirements. Now, Fred, I wanted to ask you a question about Hip Hop is Green, because I know that through videos I've seen on YouTube with bartenders that the hip hop community has started to, particularly like people like Fat Joe or Small Joe. Now we can't call him Fat Joe anymore. But, and no disrespect to Joe. Joe knows, everybody's not calling him fat no more. It's like, just Joe. What's up, Joe? But
Fat Joe's like, where are my skinny pictures at, right? Right. Like, when he did my small pictures
when he did the throwback, it was like, whoa. but people like Fat Joe, Jadakiss, all these other, I can't think of the other young men in my head right now, but all the ones that really have taken up the bartender's lifestyle when it came to doing pull-ups at the playground, but then now combining that with the food and understanding that this concept that their health is their wealth. Can you speak to how Hip Hop is Green as a nationwide movement is moving through different cities and states trying to produce more than just a top-down, but actually a bottom-up change in the world of hip-hop?
Yeah, that's a great question. And basically, when we look at hip hop itself is a social medium. The first recorded hip hop song, the Sugar Hill Gang, they actually spoke about food. They said, "You ever went over a friend's house to eat and the food just ain't no good. The macaroni, salty, the cheese, or mustard, and the chicken tastes like wood."
Yeah.
It's all about food. Yeah,
it's all about food.
Yeah, I said to say it showed the togetherness and the social aspect, the social emotional aspect of the music. Now hip hop, some 40 some odd years later, is basically in the midst of a midlife crisis, and we've had several so-called hip hop stars who passed away before the age of 50.
Yeah.
And I think that startling fact has made hip-hop open its eyes. And Hip Hop is Green has basically been that alarm that's been saying, hey, guys, we've been saying for a while, you look at this. For the last 12 years, Hip Hop is Green was actually founded by a brother, 12 years ago, founded by a brother named Keith Tucker out of Seattle. And what he found is that interviewing certain people such as Stick from Dead Prez, Professor Griff from Public Enemy, Chuck D from Public Enemy, KRS-One, was that there was already like this niche population in hip hop that was striving to be more healthier.
Yeah.
But it was in that revelation that he said, you know what, we need to create another element of hip hop, and that element being health and wellness. And in creating that element, Keith took time to write. He actually wrote an open letter to the hip-hop pioneers, to people like KRS-One, people like Kool Herc, people like Grandmaster DXT, and all these great elders of hip-hop, and said, do you think that we should have a health and wellness element of hip-hop? And overwhelmingly, the response was yes. And so with that, in 2016, we had the first, we actually had the original signing of the proclamation at the Schomburg Library of health and wellness being an element added to hip hop. And from there, it has grown substantially. Now with Hip Hop is Green, we have over 15 different chapters across the nation. And again, if you even look back in the hip hop history, breakdancing or b-boying was very athletic in itself. So we've always had that element of exercise, that element of movement.
Right.
The bartenders know that work as far as the exercise and doing movements in a rhythmic fashion. That's just another element of or extension of dance. And dance and rhythm and movement are things that go hand in hand with hip hop. So when you just put that name on it and say hip hop is green, that just gives you the ability to understand that green represents the color of life. That green represents the color of growth. That represents the color of health. And it just starts to get people to really start to think about their personal responsibility for their health.
Right.
Certain people think that AD from the Cold Crush Brothers, who's part of Hip Hop is Green. I spoke about Kool Herc, who's the actual founder of hip hop, the creator of hip hop, who's also a part of Hip Hop is Green. And it was actually Kool Herc and his ability to work out at a young age actually saved his life. When he got stabbed back in the days of one of his hip hop parties, it was because his latissimus dorsi was so well developed from doing push-ups and exercise that the blade couldn't penetrate past the muscle
that's right.
affect his kidneys.
That's right.
It's been a
that
well-known secret that exercise and health and wellness are part of what makes hip hop what it is.
That diet and wellness strategy is real key. That's a component. Of father-in-law was recently battling with prostate cancer, but he's such good shape. I mean, he's like, goes to the gym every day, weight lifts, all that, and he's from Caribbean, so they naturally in the Caribbean they just grow up eating fruits and vegetables and the pepper, right? And they got good diet. They got just naturally good diets, better diets down there. And so he was able. So he pushed, dancing. Right. He soldiered through that prostate cancer. It wasn't that big of a. I mean, it was a big deal, but it wasn't that disruptive to his. I mean, obviously, it was something he was worried about, but now it's in remission. So. And the doctor was like, because you're in such good shape, I mean, he looks like a 40-something-year-old, and he's like in his 70s. Right. So that makes a big difference.
And I think to the point that you brought earlier, also we have known places that have a business model like this, and it's for the super uber wealthy, called Mayo Clinic.
Right.
So the Mayo Clinic,
right?
Their business model is not, stay sick and come back to us when you're sick. Their business model is like, hey, you're healthy. We got you healthy. Right. You have to pay a little expensive for that, but we're going to get you more healthy, and we're going to keep you alive or on here alive for a longer time. That's their business model.
Let me ask this question to you for a couple more minutes, Fred. This is a fascinating conversation, but. Is the cost of maintaining that kind of lifestyle? It's a very expensive proposition, right? I mean, so okay, fine, you get Meatless Mondays in the schools, but who pays for that? But not just beyond the schools, maintaining. Who pays for maintaining that kind of diet? Because obviously the kids aren't at the schools all day, every day, and then we have certain establishments like Whole Foods. That's whole paycheck. Right? It's very expensive when you propose that people need to recalibrate their diet or have a completely healthy diet. And so, how do you maintain that?
That's a great question. I think it's also a little bit of a myth, because in New York City we have a lot of farmers markets.
Yeah.
And those farmers markets now in New York City, believe it or not, they actually take EBT, or they take, better word for it, they take food stamps.
That's right.
So what you'll find is that with a little bit of ingenuity, you can get that healthy healthy greens and vegetables right in your backyard if you just take a little bit time to do the research. When I look around, I do the research on Philadelphia. Philadelphia has several farmers markets, but who actually takes the time to go and look those up? Who actually takes the time? If you do a Google of Philadelphia's farmers markets, you'll see it's several of them. But
74, actually. So you're right.
There you go.
The food trust, and they, like you just said, they take EBT. So if the person, our listeners, can go to foodtrust.org/farmer-market.
And so the interesting part is that when you take a little time and just start to think a little bit different, you'll see that you have options, for lack of better words, right under your nose. Just one quick thing. It was just found in a recent study that people like, or businesses such as McDonald's, Burger King, and these fast food places, they have donated. I mean, they have focused over $100 million in marketing fast foods to black and brown youth.
That's right.
That's a lot of money.
I talked with that study.
They don't even give that much of scholarship money. You know?
That study actually, I talked with the authors of that study over at Drexel.
Oh.
They were on when I was guest hosting Wake Up with Word. Yeah.
So, and what we found is that somebody said to me a long time ago, they said, most of the foods you should eat, it should not have a commercial.
No turn-up commercials? No turn-up? No broccoli sprouts?
No commercial, you know what I mean? And when you start to think like that, you'll see that on the flip side of that, have you ever seen a commercial for a Bentley?
Yeah.
A commercial for
No.
So it's like, the final things, they don't really need commercials.
Right.
But because we're so driven by media.
No radishes?
Exactly. No Brussels sprouts commercials.
Yeah.
No commercials you'll find for asparagus.
Right.
Radishes are real good. Radishes are like walking hospitals. Like they're just eating raw radish.
You get you some Brussels sprouts, some radishes, something real simple. And I tell my kids this all the time, my students this all the time. It rhymes: strawberry, raspberry, cranberry, blueberry, and cherry. You get those berries in your system and some cherries, then you add a little avocado, a little plums, and these are just basic things. These are some basic fruits that the USDA say are the top 10 fruits that take antioxidants or take toxins from the body. So,
and you told me to take that when I was telling you I was under some stress when I was in Atlanta dealing with the startup world. You told me the smoothie I should be drinking in the morning was just that berry smoothie.
That's it. That's it. So I said to say, to come back around to your question, that when you really look, it's not that much that expensive. But then when we start to think about it, it's a reason why they say you can come and get the dollar menu. You get two burgers and some fries and a large drink on the dollar menu. Because if they give you that, it makes your life disposable because the food is disposable. They've had studies where they show a McDonald's hamburger will still be the same. It will not decay after being held for almost 2 and 3 years.
Yes.
It have the same composition.
Yes.
The bread won't decay. It's crazy.
Right.
So we have to really, really think about the things that we're putting in our bodies and why.
That's true.
Start to really, really look towards these farm-to-table situations, these farmers markets, and again, use your EBT card to go to your farmers market.
Or your SNAP. I think it's SNAP here in Philly.
We gotta go to break actually. We went a little bit over time. Can we carry Fred over to? Hey, Fred, can you hold on for just a second? We have to take a quick break. We went a little over time. This is a good conversation. We'll take Fred Beasley, Hip Hop is Green, also founder of Bartenders as well. He's calling us from New York City. We're talking about diet, the importance of diet, and also the new Meatless Mondays concept that's been implemented in New York City public schools. So let's take a very quick break. We'll bring Fred Beasley back. We'll continue the discussion. Phone lines are open too. We'll open the phone line up at 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Let's take a quick break.
Support independent black media and join the 4WORD movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
I'm Mama Dietz. At Dietz & Watson, we've spent over 75 years focusing on the details. This philosophy started back when my father learned how to make franks and sausages the right way in Germany. Today, we put that same level of detail into everything we make. If it isn't good enough for our family, it isn't good enough for yours. Dietz & Watson, caring like only family can since 1939.
WordRadio.com.
RG Electrical Inspections provides electrical inspections for realtors, licensed electricians, and homeowners. RG is a certified plans examiner and licensed underwriter providing assistance for PICO outages. RG is also listed on PICO's website. RG Electrical Inspections is a licensed and insured underwriter serving Philadelphia and surrounding areas. Call if you have plans to review today. 267-902-1655.
I would like to play a little tune I just composed not so long ago.
Hey family, do you like hearing the best jazz selections aired by 3 of the best jazz announcers in Philadelphia? Well, tune in to 96.1 FM,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM, WURD Radio, independent black media for Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Hear Freedom Sounds of Jazz 10 p.m. Fridays with your hosts in rotation, Aquila, Jonathan Bay, and David Fritz. That's 10 p.m. Friday nights on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM, independent black media.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and WordRadio.com.
Yeah, we're back here on Reality Check. We just extended our Eco Word conversation with Fred Beasley of Hip Hop is Green. Go to at Hip Hop is Green on
it's, at NYC.
Oh, it's at NYC.
Is that right, Fred?
Yes, that's right. At NYC is my personal or the personal NYC chapter. At NYC Hip Hop is Green. If you go to Hip Hop is Green, you'll find that is the national chapter.
That's the national chapter. Okay, you know, I was tweeting out, so it's at NYC.
Hip Hop is Green.
Hip Hop is Green. Okay, got it.
So your listeners know, we're actually looking to start a chapter in Philadelphia. So I'm looking for those like-minded individuals and people who are doing farmers markets for people.
Sounds like Brother Shamari.
Farming there. Because Philadelphia has long been a place that has been a stronghold for hip-hop as well as progressive thinking people. But I think a lot of times Philly gets overlooked. So we want to change that.
We appreciate that.
And bring in some of those positive thinkers and those progressive thinkers in Philly.
Yeah, we appreciate you making that, acknowledging us like that. Yeah, Brother Shamari, who's one of our hosts here on, he focuses quite a bit on urban farming. I wonder if he's listening in now. So, Brother Shamari, we need to link you up with Brother Shamari. Also was a sister from who I interviewed a month or so ago, who's in North Philly. She's from North Philly. She recently purchased land in Ghana.
Yeah.
And she's getting ready to make the move to Ghana. She's going to create a whole farm because the agriculture business is booming in Ghana. Ghana is just a booming economy all around. But you know, she's going to open up. She's going to move to Ghana permanently, open up a farm. A lot of people don't know Ghana's offering dual citizenship to African Americans, to black people. And
I got to say something. Not to cut you off, I got to share this with your listeners.
Sure.
Last year, I had the opportunity to go to Equatorial Guinea, which is also on that west coast of Africa. And I tell you that they love, and people are not going to really understand, but they love black Americans.
Yeah. Yeah.
You won't understand until you actually get there because of the media divide that's been purposely placed.
Yeah.
And when I say they love us, and they
do.
Basically giving away land. Now, here's a trick for you. Already in Equatorial Guinea and even places like Ghana, the Chinese are overdeveloping. They're getting kickbacks to go in there, and here's the trick. They're going in there and building things, buildings. Now, I actually saw it. I actually brought a tear to my eye in Equatorial Guinea. They're building housing projects which people on the land think are apartment buildings. So let's get that. But the trick is, when they get permits to build, it gives them the privilege to dig in the land for the natural resources.
Of course,
that's right.
Yes.
And they're bringing in Chinese labor when they do it.
Right.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. And let me go to the phone. Fred, real quick. I want to go to the phone lines. I want to take Kenny out of New Jersey, who's calling in to join in on the conversation. Kenny, how are you doing? Kenny.
Good evening, bro. How you doing?
All right. How are you doing, brother? Thanks so much for calling in.
This is Charles.
Yes, sir, it is.
Listen, in your kitchen, you got stuff in your kitchen that will cure anything wrong with you. I'm going to give you four items. Baking soda, cancer. Cinnamon, sugar. Vinegar and water, brown vinegar and water, high blood pressure. Nutmeg, help your memory, and a few other things. Now, I'm going to give you one thing you can check on and make it to your bones and your bad knees and your bones. Look up organic coconut oil.
Yeah, I take it myself.
Yeah.
You done heard of that one, right?
Well, I know all about coconut oil, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and one more thing. Black grape.
Black grapes.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. And the food is right. Y'all talking about the right thing, eating the right kind of food. I'm 80 in 5 months. I'll be 81.
That's right. That's right.
I don't take no medicine.
Amen.
I don't take no medicine. I get around like the average 45-year-old man.
That's right.
Amen.
I can hear it. I can hear it.
Okay, all right, brother. Y'all have a nice day.
Yes, sir.
All right, you do the same. Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Fred, did you want to respond to that?
Man, listen, what I want to say is that his brothers like the caller who just called in, Mr. Kenny, if I'm saying his name correct, he is what I call, he is a gold mine or a treasure in our community. And that's part of what a Hip Hop is Green is about. It's about building that bridge to connect our elders with the youth. Because the things that he says so eloquently are very, very real, but sometimes they get lost in the translation because there's no one to connect those dots.
Right.
And that's what Hip Hop is Green is all about.
Right.
Taking these very basic concepts and keeping them alive in our culture. Because as I said, the first hip hop recorded song. Now here's one for you, right? The first hip hop recorded song talked about food choices. At the same time, that first recorded song was actually found to be one that was stolen, for lack of better words, from another writer. So we find is that as soon as this music form, or as soon as this cultural form was put into a capitalist system, it became already compromised, if that makes any sense.
Gotcha.
What we're saying with Hip Hop is Green is that we want to peel back the layers that have been compromised and say that at its root, hip-hop was designed to quell gang violence. It was designed to bring us together.
That's right.
It was designed to address the ills that we were dealing with as a people. And we go back to that root, they say that being a radical is actually going to the root of something. So Hip-Hop is Green, pun intended, is going back to the root of hip-hop so that we can actually enjoy the fruits of the labor outside of what popular culture has now dictated hip-hop to be.
That's funny. I was just having this conversation about music when I was at Carnival. I was at Trinidad Carnival just about over a week ago, and we were having a conversation about music. I mean, we started off having a conversation about soca music and how, like, and then we got into talking about other forms of black music like reggae, hip-hop, and what it's supposed to do, what its mission is. Like with soca music, when Trinidad Carnival, everyone's happy. If there is if there's one unifying, like, black diaspora unifying music form, it's soca music. Because it's like, it's just happy music, and it's just black people just being happy. You know, black people, they have been through the struggle, they work hard, and then they got this one big moment, carnival moment or juve, and they happy. And it was just like, well, and we were having this conversation when it went on for about a couple of hours. And it was a collection of us, and we were talking about how, like, this is what these music forms, this is what they were created to do, whether it's jazz or reggae music or hip hop or soca music, calypso, or now like Afro pop. You know, that you're finding from a lot of countries out of the continent. So these are supposed to be motivational, mission-driven music forms. And they have specific purposes, and that's like, they're not supposed to be like used for commercial purposes only. You know what I mean? You know, obviously people can make a living off of them, they should, but they have to be mission driven. No, you're absolutely right. Real quick, I want to go back to the phone lines, Fred, and by the way, too, I want to make an apology to the last caller. His name was Charles. His name was Charles. Yeah, his name was Charles.
We want to give a big salute to Mr. Charles, because the remedy that he gave were excellent.
He did. I like that.
In the pudding. The proof's in the pudding.
Proof is definitely in the pudding. Let me go to Clyde in South Philly, who's calling in for a reality check. Clyde, what's good?
Hey, Charles. This is a very interesting conversation that you have.
What's happening? Thank you.
I just turned it on, and we was talking about the foods, and the elder just gave us some jewels.
Yeah.
People are really listening. And it just reminds me of the book How to Eat to Live, and some of the nuances in there that our people should take heed to. Coconut oil, coconut milk.
Right.
All this stuff is so essential for us right now, especially right now with all the garbage that's in the supermarket.
Right.
It's ridiculous what's in there, and this the fast food. I don't even remember last time I ate fast food. It's just
same here.
Garbage. And
right.
You know what kills me about it is that the information is there, and it appears that our people, I can't say all of them, but most of them are just, ignorant to it. I mean, you can Google and things of that nature, and our people just want to ignore it until we get diabetes, heart disease,
and
all kinds of other things. And then, you want to start eating right, and it's damn near too late.
Do you remember the book Back to Eden, brother?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that we didn't pass along to the next generation. I grew up with that book in our house. It was like the Bible when it came to what was sick, what was wrong, mineral oil for the earache, all those type of things. I think we definitely haven't done a good intellectual health capital transfer.
Right.
We talk about wealth transfer, but we haven't really transferred music and intellectual property of what we as black people know, foundation wise. We may talk about black soap, but we don't talk about many other things that our grandmothers and our great grandmothers gave us, because they knew they were from the South or they were from the earth, and they knew what we needed to eat and what we needed to do to sleep well.
That's so powerful you said that, Martin. Because I think back to my aunt who she recently passed away at 90 years old. But even living in Hollis, Queens, she made sure that she had a garden, and in her garden she would have her tomatoes, her greens, her cucumbers. And me, in my adolescent wisdom, I said, I don't have time to be working in the garden. I want to go out here. I want to run through the hood. And she was giving me the practical application at that time. But because I thought, those are those old ways, that I don't really need that right now.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I became a little bit more mature and wiser, understood that she was giving or creating for us the medicine in the food. And right there in Hollis, Queens, which is in the quote unquote the middle of the hood, and when we talk about house, we think about Run DMC. So it sounds like in a hip hop again.
Right.
We think about there was a community of older people from the South who all had gardens, and they would barter. The lady across the street used to have spinach in her garden, and she would give us my aunt Nuts would give us her spinach, and we would give her our cucumbers.
That's
and
right.
We would give her our tomatoes, and sometimes she would come back and she might have cabbage. I mean, it was a community of bartering. Now think about that system.
Yep.
We've lost that because, again, the music and the cultural aspiration has taught us to go for the bag.
Yeah.
And if you go for the bag, we've lost.
You don't have no roots in that bag. There's no roots in that bag. It's just a bag. It might be a plastic bag.
Right.
Right. It's not even a brown paper bag.
And that's all by design too. Hey, brother.
Brother Charles.
Yes, sir. Go real quick.
One of our elders that passed along that used to work for HAT, and he worked for WURD until he passed away. Johnny Sample used to say this all the time on his show. If it don't grow off a tree or out of the ground, I'm not going to eat it.
That's a good point.
Thank you, brother.
Good point. Thank you, brother. All right. I appreciate Clyde calling. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, phone lines remain open. 2-1. I guess we want to keep Fred. Fred, can you stay on?
I'm with you, brother.
Okay, yeah, we go to about 7 o'clock before we go into the lounge at 7 o'clock, so we got about 15 more minutes or so. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Diane out of South Philly, hold on just 1 second. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here on Reality Check with Martin Pratt, who is co-hosting with me today, and also Fred Beasley of the New York City chapter of Hip Hop is Green is also joining us by phone. We're extending this conversation. Looks like we got a little bit of... It's caught a bit of fire, which is good. It's cooking with gas.
Probably because we're both hungry.
Right. It's cooking with charcoals right now. You're on Reality Check. We'll be right back. 96.1 FM 900 AM WordRadio.com. Stay tuned.
Listen to Word Radio on the go with the Word Radio app. Search for WURD in your favorite app store today and take us with you wherever you go. Stay connected to Word Radio, independent black media.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Hey ladies, in celebration of Women's History Month, we're proud to announce an exciting contest to recognize young black women leaders between the ages of 18 and 35 in Philly, Chicago, and Los Angeles who are doing great things to empower their communities.
It's called Level Up. Level Up, a celebration of women who got next. Presented by the Independent Black Media Consortium, an exciting new partnership between 3 black-owned radio stations, WURD Radio in Philly, WVON in Chicago, and KJLH in Los Angeles. This is your opportunity to recognize the hard work and dedication of the next generation of black women leaders making a difference in our communities.
Nominees must simply be a young black woman between the ages of 18 and 35 in Philly, Chicago, or LA who is making a difference in her community.
To nominate a woman who's got next, visit WURDradio.com, WVON.com, or KJLHradio.com.
Ladies, it's time to level up.
This is Ronald Clark from Moravia Health. Moravia Health Home Care Service are an excellent option for individuals who need medical attention or even non-medical assistance with daily activities, but would rather receive this care in the comfort of their own homes. Make this change today. Come and experience Moravia Health for yourself. Call Moravia Health at 215-717-8650 or visit moraviahealth.com. Moravia Health, because there's no place like home.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation? Follow us on social media using the hashtag onWURD. Be heard. Stay connected to Word Radio, independent black media. Brown's ShopRite is celebrating the grand reopening of Brown's Parkside, 52nd and Jefferson Streets. Experience a new and improved store designed with you in mind. Brown's Parkside location is your go-to for everything you need to make a delicious cook-at-home meal. Or you can visit their brand new Salad Works location and extensive hot bar, featuring a full selection of foods for all palates and dietary needs. You can also order from their catering menu for that special occasion. And yes, the beer garden will be fully stocked to accommodate your beverage of choice. Word family, check out the new and improved Browns of Parkside. Stop in to celebrate the grand reopen. Browns has something for everyone. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and WordRadio.com.
All right, welcome back to Reality Check. We've extended, what's his name? Fred Beasley. Twice. Yeah, we've extended him. And he's been kind enough, he's been gracious enough to stay on with us. Some fascinating conversation, and it's resonating as well with many of our listeners, and that's a good thing because it's a needed conversation. It's an essential one. So let me go to real quick, Fred, if you hold on for one moment. Diane out of South Philly has been very patient. She's holding. Hi, Ms. Diane.
Hi, Brother Charles. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a very fascinating show. I mean, this is a show that'll save your life. And what prompted me to call when the Brother Fred talked about Back to Eden, my aunt used to always have reading that book. And we had nothing but T's in the cabinet, number 10, number 11, whatever.
Yes.
But she never took medicine. And to this day, my aunt is 85 years old. If the Lord bless her to see May, she'll be 86. And that woman is in good health. She helped the senior citizen, take them shopping and everything, and she run up the steps and everything.
Right. She ready to go.
Health problems. I thank the Lord for that. But I have a question. Why didn't they pass down that stuff to us? We seen it, but they never talked about health.
Well, I would say I was the brother brought up back to Eaton, and full disclosure, Fred, I saw bartenders, I think in 2010 at the first ever black event that ever happened at the Queens Museum. They never had a black event until this event, and I was so impressed when I saw I think he was 60 or 70, the brother that did the chin-ups that you guys wrote. Yeah, I said, whoa. And then so Fred actually trained me and helped me lose weight and helped me. But the basic things that Fred was talking to me about was because I took advantage and I asked him questions, stuff like that.
Right.
But my mother, to the sister's point, to our caller's point, she never took me to a side and said, hey, Martin, this is Back to Eden. This is the book, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. In fact, if you go a little bit further, in our library was Think and Grow Rich. Also in the library was The Power of Positive Thinking. Until I was 28 years old, when somebody heard me on a radio show and he said I sounded so dang on negative, he came to my office in New York and dropped off 2 books to my secretary and said, this brother needs to read these dang on books because he's going to be dealing with computers and trying to help the nation, and he needs to be more positive. And so I saw those 2 books. I said, well, I saw those in my library. I grew up with those 2 same books I saw almost every day. And my parents never took those books out and said, hey, you need to read these. So I think there's somewhat of, and I'm saying that also to my younger brothers, I didn't pass on my younger brother's information that my older cousins passed on to me because my younger brothers graduated college at 16, and I felt like they were okay. And I think our parents felt like when we were the computer generation, we had just got computers when I was 14. That was a Commodore 64. There was stuff they didn't know anything about at all. So they felt like my mother had a lifetime subscription to Prevention magazine. And my mother died from cancer, but cancer was throughout her entire body. She and a person at Temple got together and they went on a raw food diet. They had said that my mother was going to die in 6 months. She stayed on this plan 3 more years because of her raw food, alkaline, exercise diet. And she only passed because she was ready to go. They were ready to do more operations, take out more cancer. She said, nah, I'm tired, let's go. But my point is that I don't have any of that intelligence. She never passed on health intel to me. I can physically see that I'm healthy because we didn't have any white bread and we didn't have we didn't have any
cutting those things
my cereal that I ate was product 19 Kellogg's. So I remember that horrible but my cousins, they had the pops and the Count chocolate. We didn't have any of that.
Hey, Ms. Diane, you want real quick, Ms. Diane? You got one more?
I'm just enjoying the conversation.
Excellent.
Someone else, but thank you so much, y'all, for bringing these fascinating people on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening, Ms. Diane.
Thank you for listening, Ms. Diane. I appreciate the feedback too. Go ahead, Fred.
And what makes this call so special is that the feedback that we're getting from the elders and the ability to dialogue back and forth. So I think
that's right.
If we look back historically for our parents and our grandparents, coming out of the 60s, you got to think about how turbulent that time was, and going into the 70s, when people this is when they really technically first started getting through the bag. So it was almost as if our parents didn't really have the time to talk about their health because they were just finally getting treated as human beings. So some of these basic things got lost in the translation or the trappings of success. Like I said,
in that transition,
my family getting a house in Queens, moving from Harlem to Queens, that was a big thing. Just living in Queens had meant that even though the Jefferson said you moving on up if you're on the Upper East Side, the thing was that we look historically, the black people who are affluent, they actually moved to Queens. But again, certain things were coded in their DNA because I said when they went from the South to Harlem to Queens, as soon as they got a little bit of land, that farming or that garden popped back up.
Thank you, Fred.
Fred, thanks so much. Fred Beasley with the New York City chapter of Hip Hop is Green. Go to @NYC Hip Hop is Green on Twitter, on social media, to learn more about them and learn more about
Meatless Mondays. You can just Google Meatless Mondays and NYC Hip Hop is Green and the word Fred Beasley. And we're going to post, there's a movie Fred was in. We're going to post that link to that trailer on our Facebook page, on Word's Facebook page.
Excellent. Hey, thanks so much.
I have to brag a little bit. I wasn't actually just in the movie. I actually helped, I was one of the producers of that movie.
Oh, that's
right.
Up.
My bad.
All right. That's Go ahead and brag, brother. That's right.
But I popped my car a little bit on that one. But what happens again is, think about right now where we have this conversation. This isn't in quote unquote the conventional radio sphere. This is independent black radio.
That's the only. That's where you're going to hear these conversations.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
Have these candid conversations that, for lack of better words, the so-called majors, the powers that be, do not find these conversations productive or suitable for their bottom line.
So that's why we have to make our independent black media. We have to make that our mainstream media. This is our mainstream media. That's right.
And that's my point. That's my point.
Fred.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, thanks so much. We actually gotta wrap up because I gotta let in the next host for the lounge. Fred, it's been real. It's been very enlightening. This has been a very fruitful conversation. And pun intended on that. It's definitely very fruitful and green. So we appreciate you, and we definitely have to link up. We gotta get you down here in Philly. I feel like a forum or some kind of event. For this kind of conversation. So we'll be talking. We'll be in touch.
I look forward to it, and I want to thank you guys for having me, for allowing me to stay a little extra on the phone with you and to share some information.
Absolutely.
Or to share time with your listeners. I learned from Mr. Kenny, I learned from the Elder Queen who came in.
That's right.
As well. I had a great time speaking with you and exchanging ideas.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
We did too. All right. Thank you, brother. All right. You take care, and we'll be in touch. Peace.
Peace.
All right. That wraps this Thursday edition of Reality Check. It was a fantastic discussion. Thank you for that guest. We did an extended EcoWord segment because, EcoWord is exactly.
Put that on our website, ecoword.com.
Ecoword.com. You got to go to ecoword.com. Great new content and features coming up soon there. Ecoword.com once again. At Ellison Report, hashtag Reality Check for more there. Also go to the bnote.substack.com. That getting refreshed as well. And Philly, we getting ready for Sincerely Sarita. That's coming up. The lounge. We about to hop into the lounge at about the 7 p.m. hour with Sincerely Sarita. So stay tuned here for some continued fantastic discourse with the illustrious Sincerely Sarita. She was looking illustrious down at City Hall today when we were doing our photo shoot with her. I was also with her and sister and Envy McKee as well. So definitely an honor to join them here in this afternoon, evening lineup on the home of Black Talk Media's Word Radio, WURD, at onWURD, hashtag onWURD. Also Jordan Booth getting it done at the Board of Steel. Fantastic job, young man.
DJ JB.
DJ. Mixing it up, yeah. Jordan Booth. He's got the name too, right? Yeah. Jordan Booth. He got the name.
This is Jordan Booth.
This is Jordan Booth.
Handling your sports talk radio
here on WURD. All right, we have a little bit too much fun in here today, so it's been fantastic here in the WURD studios, Philly. Listen, I want you to stay smart. I want you to stay sharp. But more importantly, please stay safe out there. I'll talk to you on Monday at 4 p.m. sharp. Have a fantastic weekend.